All right, amazing. Welcome everybody to the Respawn X Littles Valorant tournament. We have our first game upcoming right now. The first game will consist of Just Aim versus Group Hug. Uh, I'm looking forward to the game. What do you reckon, my
Yeah, I mean, it'll
friend?
be an exciting match because if you look at Just Aim's ranks, you've got the highest player is Ascendant and the lowest player is Bronze. So there's going to be a lot on Ranger to kind of carry this game. Meanwhile, Group Hug has a lot more of an even spread. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we're on Haven here, so we'll see what the agent compositions come out with. You're expecting both teams to probably end up running the Omen here, and then probably some kind of Killjoy or Cypher, some Sentinel. But we'll see. I'm not sure if it's just us or if you guys can see the agent select. But basically, right now we only see the Omen locked in for, I believe that is Just Aim, and everyone else still deciding on team comps. A lot of these teams were formed. Okay, cool. Um, these teams were pretty much formed, I think, entirely randomly. I'm not sure if any like full 5 stack signed up, so a lot of these teams won't have had much time to practice different comps. So it's gonna be interesting to see when we get into this what they end up running.
In your opinion, do you reckon is the defining difference between, would you reckon, like lower ranking players and higher ranking players? Just to like give a general idea of what do you think we're expecting to see from this game, where the team compositions are just so vastly different, at least in terms of rank.
Yeah, so I think at the lower ranks, it really just comes down to how well you can aim. That would be the big decider between something like a bronze and a gold player. There's obviously other things that come into it, especially when you get higher up, like game sense. But also, I'm expecting a lot of these players to just kind of pick what they're comfortable on. There is a rule where the highest ranking player is allowed to play duelist, and then stuff like the clove and the chamber, things that aren't duelists but are basically duelists. So a lot of those better players, if they are duelist mains, you're going to see them, I think, maybe struggle a bit on some of these other roles. But in general, I think there's a pretty even chance. Like most of these players are between gold and diamond, so a lot of them will be on that same even footing in terms of like skill of aiming and like agent diversity. So we'll see. But we are actually getting into the game now, I think. So looking at these, yeah, you see both teams running the Omen and the Killjoy by the looks of it, as well as the Sova. And then I believe our red team is just aim. They're running the Teo, which is interesting because Teo just got massively nerfed recently. Not a lot of teams have been running him, but he is still a very fun agent, and this tournament is more just for fun. These are our lower ranked teams, so we'll see next week the higher ranked teams take the stage, and they'll be able to kind of show us a bit more of what's the meta, whereas these teams are just here to have fun. So I guess we'll see.
What do we expect to see in terms of like struggles throughout this match? Like just predictions beforehand, because obviously we've got a team over here that has a more consistent like rank consistency between all of them. Like they've got a higher average, I would say, than our team that has the best player, but
Mm.
I would say has like a lower average. What are we expecting to see in terms of like struggles from each team? Because obviously, we've got the better player on one team, but with the higher average on another team, that might also make it a little bit more difficult as well, right? Obviously, because
Yeah.
a better player is always going to be the better player, whereas a higher average though may make up for a stronger unit. So, what are we expecting to
Yeah.
see from this? You reckon?
I think that's
At
that's
least,
exactly the point. Is that will the higher player play like a better player? Because basically since he is the ascendant of the team and he's gonna have to do a bit of carrying, will he be able to play up to that level? And then also how well will because they have a bronze and a silver on their team as well. So will those players be able to step up and kind of match these players who are all higher ranked than them? I think that's going to be the big difference. And then honestly, since these teams haven't had a lot of time to practice, you're probably going to see just a lot of grouping up as 5, hitting a site, like, and then we'll basically just see how good the util is, and if they're able to win their gunfights, I think is going to determine a decent chunk of this. But who knows? They have had about 2 weeks, I think, of knowing who's on that team, so there's a chance some of these teams have been practicing some strats and stuff. But yeah, we'll basically just see when we get into it, I guess.
well, it's always like a toss up whether or not these teams, because obviously these teams don't know each other. They're not used to how each other plays. Even if they have taken up the 2 weeks, they wouldn't be completely comfortable playing alongside each other. So obviously, whether or not they mesh well together is like I think another possibility that we need to take into account as well.
Yeah,
Just
definitely. Stuff like the communication as well. It looks like we started here. I think we're having some trouble with the overlay. But you see an early just attack and push straight onto A. That's pretty much what we were expecting to see here. There was an early trade over towards Garage. Um, yeah, so it sounds like we have some tech problems, but immediate trades on the site. Looks like the defense are able to hold off most of the site. Just 2 players left in the 1v2. Can Troy make anything happen? Oh, sorry, Tourney. He can't. And that'll be the first round going over the defenders.
That was an excellent defense made just there. That round was over remarkably quickly. There was not
Yeah.
any downtime whatsoever between that. It was all gun ho, getting straight in there, trying to just make sure that they're getting in, they're doing what they need to do, and taking that point. But that was crazy quick, especially in terms of how fast Valorant games normally go for. They normally last a lot longer, I feel, at least in
Yeah,
my
I mean,
personal experience from what I've seen.
yeah, you are generally like in a high level play meant to see more kind of slower rounds and more slow down play. But in this kind of rank, like I was saying earlier, it's a lot of the time it is group up as 5 and just go fast. You can see right now they're splitting towards C, so you've got 3 players looking towards Garage. Although it looks like they're actually wrapping over to B. And it might come down to this mid fight here. Yeah, you see, he's got the Vandal on the Vice, that's Ball, and he's able to just pick up 3 immediately. He does get traded out by Lay1, so he's going to be able to maybe make something happen here. They've recovered a rifle now, but they are pretty trapped. You see 3 players flanking them while their Killjoy holds in B main. So you have to see if Lay1's able to pick up more kills. Actually, that's Cake with the rifle. He's unable to pick up the first one, but Lay1 does trade him back. That's 2 in the round for him. And Nuardino's on 5 HP. So with that flash coming out, actually, Lay1 is putting on a showing. Picks up 3. That's actually a really good round for the attackers. They came in with no guns, and they're able to take 3 off their hands.
That's the thing. Excellent play throughout all of that. It honestly, that was incredible. The triple pick at the very beginning there was, I feel like, a massive defining factor towards that as well. It was excellent. Excellent first picks, and definitely would push the tide in their favor there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the dangerous thing you see. Normally in Valorant, you don't buy the Vandal on the second round because it's very expensive. If you die with it, you're gonna have a tough time with your money and stuff like that. But so they force the Vandal, and he's actually able to pick up that Vandal and get a bunch of kills with it from the attackers. So yeah, coming into this round, you see Bob picking up an early kill with that Outlaw. It's obviously a one-shot body if you have light armor on, so he was able to just pick up that first early kill. And Nuardino actually able to catch that Lay1, almost misses the shot, but Ball went down backside to the molly. He's going to have to try and hold this site now with 2 people. There's 3 attackers left, but they're all the way down the bottom of a C short, and they're going to get caught by this flank. You see Jaws able to pick up the kill onto Killjoy in the background, and Jaws picks up another one onto Cake as well. And that was actually a really beautiful pinch. The attackers thought they would be able to rotate out after picking up that pick, but instead the backstab actually secured it. And Tourney, he tried to make something happen there. He picked up one on Nuardino, but Bob able to close that one out. And that's now, I believe, 3 rounds for defenders.
Super unfortunate that he got pinched there and he just got stuck with all the rest of his teammates getting picked off there. But that was an excellent use of like he definitely knew he was going down. Without any teammates on there wasn't really much of a chance of him to be able to hold that really. But taking out one like as at the end there just before he goes down is an excellent play in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean the money is going to be kind of rough here for them now. You can see they are probably on like SMGs and stuff now, and maybe a couple rifles because they lost that round where they fully bought. So we're gonna see. Yeah, I mean immediately Jaws picks up another kill into Lay1. Yeah, you can see through the walls that they've all got sheriffs and stuff. Nuardino actually getting a really nice one tap onto the Killjoy there. And now you're gonna see this Teo drone go down A long, and they're probably gonna try and push behind that. Yeah, you see the Sova walking up now to try and kind of take that space that the drone can. And they're probably just gonna go for some kind of A hit here. But if they do, they're walking into 3 players with rifles, so it's gonna be quite rough. You can see the Omen, I believe that's Tourney in the back. He's just trying to lurk and see if he can find a pick on anyone trying to sneak up behind them. But it looks like he's just going to group up with the team now and go for the play. But you can see that AIM has just fully read this and they're going to just be grouped up on the site waiting for them. They've got a couple players spread throughout the map just in case they go somewhere else. But right now, they're just fully ready for this take.
Super unfortunate that they full bought the previous game. That definitely would have hurt them like a stack ton in this one. I feel like full buying definitely is like a very high risk, high reward kind of situation. Because if you full buy, obviously you want to make sure you keep those guns. And if you can keep those guns, it'd definitely probably do you well in the longer run. As long as like you can keep that momentum going. But just not having those weapons for this after like losing them is certainly it's going to hurt way more than it probably would have helped had they been able to keep it in the previous round.
Yeah, and for those people who aren't as familiar with especially like competitive Valorant where people actually like follow the economy, the general way you do is so both teams start on this round. Obviously you can only like this. Actually beautiful shot from Tourney there. I don't think they can make anything happen with 7 seconds, but yeah. So you'll on the first round everyone has pistols and that's basically a coin toss in terms of the economy. The team that wins will usually force up some SMGs, maybe an Outlaw or a Marshal, like a lower powered sniper. Actually, there's almost around that. Bartoday actually picked up quite a few kills there. That was quite impressive from him, using only the Sheriff and the Stinger. But then basically you'll see one team buy rifles into those SMGs the round after, and you're meant to win that round. But what went wrong there is Group Hug didn't manage to win that round, which meant the next round they were back down to no money, and that's gonna create a 4-0 lead for AIM now.
When locked in a situation like that, and you've already full bought, you've already made that mistake, how would you go about trying to make up that money again to try and get some momentum rolling so that you don't get absolutely crushed? Because obviously
they did the right thing.
That's a momentous problem when it comes to just trying to keep some momentum going so that you can keep steamrolling some rounds. But obviously, losing the weapons there would just be a super hurtful. How would you go about just making sure that you can make that back up? Try and prevent as much damage done to trying to keep momentum.
Yeah, so this is the last thing the right thing in the last round where they only bought pistols, and you see now they're coming in with rifles, but Bobinator actually in heaven is able to pick up 2 with the ult, and he's just absolutely cleaning them up. Almost hits that shot as well with the dash. He's going to pull up the knives now. This is Jet's ult, Bladestorm. He's going to just basically try and pick up these frags. Bob is kind of running over them right now, but Kate does manage to pick up a kill onto Jaws, but gets traded out immediately by Yuliko. And yeah, now you're basically just seeing them try to hunt down this Omen, make sure he can't keep this rifle into the next round, which, yep, with him going down, this will force him back onto pistols again. And this is basically how it happens when you lose that round, is you're going to go from an eco round where you're just buying pistols, maybe like an SMG, just to build up your money for the next round. So you're going to see them back on pistols and SMGs again here. And then next round, they'll buy rifles again. And hopefully they can win a round here. If they can, that'd be great. I think we are going to go to a tech pause because we're just having some issues with the overlay on our end. But we'll see if we end up playing out this round. Doesn't look like it. So yeah, basically... their goal here is to, when they have these SMGs and stuff, they want to get as many picks as possible. They want to try and just... Okay. Yeah, so I think we are just going to go to a full pause here. Hello. I think we're back. Awesome. Yeah, so sorry for any technical issues there. But yeah, it seems like we're back. As you can see, my co-caster seems to have died. Yeah, but I think we should hopefully be getting back into this game soon. Obviously, it's our first match of the tournament. There's going to be some technical issues. But hopefully... no, we can't see the game right now. But hopefully we get back into it, and... yeah. Yep. So yeah, looks like we're back into the game now. And immediately kicking off, we see that 2 players have gone down over towards Garage, and now the rest of the attacking team is just trying to back out down C-Long. Luckily, this time there is no flank, so that Omen won't be able to pick up a couple kills behind them. Jaws seems to just be sitting on B this time. They're playing a lot safer, and I think that's fair because you don't want to be dropping any of these rifles here. You want to kind of just be holding onto everything and making sure you're not giving them any kind of advantage. You see Ball is actually holding where these Vandals are to make sure that nothing can get picked up and secured. And he's going to have to face 2. He misses all his shots, and actually, but that isn't able to pick up the first one, yeah. And
definitely very unfortunate they're just having 2 of them there, just standing there for him, making it very difficult and very crucial for him to try and hit those shots there.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
And that internet picks up another kill as well. So now with this Phoenix ult from Leon, he's actually going to be able to take a lot of space. He's only got the Sheriff right now still. Hopefully he can pick up a rifle. But for now, he looks like they're just trying to hold these default positions. Leon actually with another really good shot.
Excellent execution.
Out of his mind. If the rest of the team could pick up and help him out, I reckon this actually could be a bit of a comeback. Tourney now in the 1v2. He's going to be sitting behind that wall. They're going to tap the defuse, and he's got to swing. I don't know if he's actually given himself enough time. He gets off the defuse, though, and Tourney picks up a beautiful double kill. Gets hugged on the round. And that was just
excellent
amazing
play by Tourney there. Massive play. Managed to bring that back from the absolute brink. The 2v1 there, someone holding the point right there for them so that they can get that defuse. Manages to get double picks on both of them and take them out. That was excellent execution by him there.
Yeah. And I got a little worried there because he let them get half on the defuse. And basically, for those who don't know, in Valorant, when you're defusing the spike, you get to a halfway point and it will stay at that halfway point. So it's 8 seconds total. But if you plant and then they get the defuse to halfway, it's only 4 seconds to finish it off. So I was a little worried when he let them go for so long. But I think him holding that position for so long threw them off. They didn't actually realize he was still there. They thought he might have been somewhere else, maybe trying to stab them in the back. But yeah, and immediately Ball picking up another kill. It feels like Hug cannot get an easy round here. They're going to have to keep fighting from this man deficit. But they managed to pick up that round, and that is a really good sign because especially given how bad their econ was, you can see now they're still coming into this round with a couple rifles, which is a really good sign, and it means they have another chance in this round. Yeah, you see it basically a jiggling gunfight here. They're trying to break up the angles and try and pick each other off. Ball manages to get the headshot through the wall and picks up a nice kill onto that, and that's now really rough. This garage fight has not been going well for Hug. It looks like now they're just trying to group for a B mid push up. Sorry.
All good.
But for now, they're kind of just stuck. They lost 2 of their teammates, and now they don't really have that much. If the Terror has his drone online, he can use it to kind of scope out an area and see if they can get in. Looks like Leywan's just taking the contact, and Ball has been clean with it today. I'm going to say this Vice C garage hold has just been beautiful from him. And it looks like he actually might be going for more Cake. Has his back to him right now. As long as he doesn't make any noise, Cake should have no idea he's here. Especially pick up that kill, pulls out the knife, and Ball able to clean that one up too. He's on for the ace. That's 4 kills down, and the last player on C-Long, his team is probably going to be feeding him this info to try and get him to that ace. It's not the smartest tactical decision, but it's the hype one.
10 seconds left.
This is looking to be a very, very intense match. We're definitely, like, yet again, we're seeing Tourney left here on his own. No help, no assistance, left just to try and see what he can do with the rest of this.
And he doesn't have the bomb and the time ran out, so yeah, he manages to save the gun over, which is nice, but yeah, there's no real chance for him there.
I don't think there was much he probably could have done there. The best he could have done was just to try and save his weapon for the next rounds.
Yeah, and especially with who was it? Ball picking up just that 4K. I mean, you're not really able to do much when your Viz is just playing that well. Viz excels at locking down an area.
With the absolute insane like gameplay that we were seeing from Ball there, even if he had managed to get a couple of picks there, he almost certainly would have been overwhelmed by not just Ball with like themselves, but also from like the full team being there.
Yeah, I mean, there was no way he was winning that round. He just didn't have the time. And Bob picks up an early pick onto Leywan. That's been their star player today, so this is going to look quite rough for them now, especially considering that's the Phoenix going down. They don't have another duelist on their team, so he's the one that has to try and get them into the site and the one that everyone else is setting up to push forward. With him going down, it's a lot harder. But you see AV has the Killjoy ult here. Killjoy ult locks down an entire area and allows... basically, if you stay within the range, you lose your gun and you can't move, and you're just a free pick for whoever is there. And you see, actually, they combo with the tail ult, which allows them to not push back out of sight. So this Killjoy is going to get detained. You see, now he's detained, can't use his gun, and he's straight away, he's down. That was a beautiful ult combo. It also hit 2 other players as well, so that gives them the free flank. Ball, in response, is going to use this Steel Garden, which turns off the attacker's primary weapons. They can only use their pistols for the next 10 or so seconds, and you see, immediately it's a struggle. Normally, if he had his rifle out, that was a free kill, but instead, AV goes down. And Bad Internet now left alone on the site, and he will be taken out as well. That will be the defuse for AIM, and just really beautiful play coming out of them. That was a really nice ult combo, though, from Hug.
Yeah, definitely 100%. They pushed with that really, really well. Using that old combo there to try and just make some grounds was definitely the play there, especially to try and just like make some space as well, put some pressure on them to try and force them to make some mistakes there, which they did manage to make some use of in order to get that.
Yeah. And because the thing about the Killjoy ult is, the idea is you want to get out of it as fast as possible, but the place they placed it, there was only one spot everyone could run away to. And by dropping the tail ult, which does damage if you stand in it, behind that, they weren't able to leave without dying to battle. Yeah.
It forces you in a position where you're either in an unfavorable position or you're dead. And
yeah, which is not a rock and a hard place I'd want to be between.
No, and definitely the best option that you could make in that situation is just to go for the rock and the hard plays rather than just straight up die.
Yeah, I think you just got to push forward there and try and fight. But speaking of pushing forward, there's a 5-man hold pushing into this garage. It looks like they got sick of Ball's shenanigans on these garage doors and they just forced it out. Lei1 actually picking up a kill with the Odin as well. Interesting giving your Phoenix the Odin, given he's the one that's meant to go on first, and the Odin is a heavy LMG. And you see Ball just immediately picking up two.
Yeah, amazing. We've seen so many good shots today from Ball. Excellent.
Yeah, it's
excellent
insane.
plays made by him.
Yeah,
we
but
saw
luckily,
another 2K there as well, which was excellent.
Bad internet, able to trade it back, and now it's a 1v3. It's just Bob. He's been playing quite well with the ult, but right now he has the rifle in hand. See if he can make anything happen here. Able to spot the first tags through the wall, but that reduced damage on the headshot didn't kill, and Bad Internet picks up his third in the round. That was a beautiful ending clutch from Bad Internet. He was able to just kind of come in and clean up the rest of that fight. It was looking really dire for them, but he just comes through the aim online, and he's able to pick up those kills.
That was definitely like amazing play made there.
Let's fly.
Yeah, and coming into this next round, it's gonna probably be another. It's kind of hard to tell. Unfortunately, we on our end can't see the overlay, so we can't see what guns are running into. But you see Cake now actually picking up the Odin instead. This makes a little more sense. Teo is able to scan people through walls with this drone you see him throwing out. And he's usually going to be the one playing a bit further back and supporting Lei1 getting in, so it makes a lot more sense for him to have the slower, bigger gun. You see the tail miss is actually going to catch out Noardino. He manages to push out of them. Those missiles do damage over time when they land on the ground, so you need to move away from them. And AV is able to pick up a kill onto Ball. That's one of their best players. I'd argue their best player today. So with him going down, there's actually a pretty good chance. You see the Teo pushing into the garage now. He's taken all that space, and he's going to be calling for a C rotate here from the rest of his team. And it looks completely free right now. You see all of the aim players are just sitting on A and B right now. And they should have the free open sight. Cake picking up a kill into Jaws as well. Now in the 4v2, it's going to be pretty rough. I don't think they're going to be able to
losing Bob and losing Ball was definitely like a massive loss for their team there. With Ball like being the main backbone for what we've seen a lot of these rounds in terms of kills, definitely going to make this a lot more difficult for them.
Yeah, and you see Yulico's trying to make something happen here, but he goes down, and that will be the round.
Go down, unfortunately. Really, really rough there. Leaving it in a 2v4 is not a favorable position to be in. Definitely trying to make some plays here. They do manage to get a pick, though, which is excellent. And unfortunately, that leaves it down just to Yuliko in a 2v1, and unfortunately, they do lose it. That is very unfortunate there. Very unfortunate. What do you reckon from here both teams can do to try and just like make some more out of this?
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing here immediately, they're doing the same strategy again, where they're just spamming through that door and able to pick up the first kill.
It definitely seems like a solid strategy that for them to keep going back to, because it does appear to be working. A lot of the times they've been doing it, they have managed to make like really good use of it.
Yeah, and I mean, you see it here coming out, they're immediately just going to plant on B. They've gotten that opening space, and now they're able to push that one. And actually, Bobinator dying to the molly is very strange, because Jet has a lot of movement abilities. She shouldn't be dying to that. Bad Internet trading back the kill for that one. He got onto Lei1, and AV picking up his third of the round, able to secure that one. And I mean, yeah, you're just seeing the same play that they're running, and it's been working really well. This actually evened them out. It was, I believe, 6-1 at one point, and now they've brought it back up to 4-7. If they can get this last round, that's honestly quite a nice goal line to have on the defense side of this map. Oh, sorry, the offense side of this map. Because the thing with the defenders is they're able to rotate on this map really quickly, which means they can get through from site to site. Even though it's a 3-site map, they can rotate around very quickly, and it makes it a lot easier for the defenders a lot of the time, considering you assume a 3-site map is quite attacker-sided. But yeah, coming into this next round, you're seeing they're actually switching it up. Now they've got Ball on the Vice. He's sitting on B now. And instead of, and yeah, it immediately pays off. He picks off the first kill to Lei1, and Lei1 actually had the spike. So now they've got to try and recover that. And you see that aim is trying to push this one forward. And Bob, beautiful play in the back line. Picks up two.
There. Ball managing to get two as well. Excellent plays by both Ball and by Bob there. Absolutely insane. We've seen so many good plays from these two tonight.
Yeah, honestly, and that'll be the half. So that's a 4-8 half. It's not great for the attackers to not get at least that minimum 5, but at the same time, it's like playable. Especially if they win this pistol round. And I mean, you just see in the last round of a half, since ults reset at the end, everyone is using their ult. You saw the Sova ulting in Garage at the end, just hitting nothing.
The ult dump was absolutely like insane that last round. I definitely think going into this one, they're going to have to try and keep an eye out for Ball and for Bob as much as possible. They are the biggest threat, I feel, to their team at the current point in time. Just like hitting everything. They've been getting so many kills throughout all of this, playing it really, really well.
Yeah,
They just
for sure.
definitely need to like be wary of them throughout the rest of this. Just making sure that they play this really well. Try not to feed kills to them as much as possible.
Yeah, pretty much. And actually, AV with a potentially good backstab here. See, the alarm bot dropped means, yeah, he will get spotted, and now they know there's someone flanking them. But that puts a lot of pressure onto AIM here. They're kind of surrounded here. There's nothing on the flank yet, and they actually pull back the turret. But Kate picks up a
If we
kill on
manage
the
to take
bot.
away a Bobinator, that is an excellent kill for them, especially since the previous rounds as well. They just need to make sure that they be wary of Ball here as well, especially considering we've been seeing how they've been playing these previous rounds. But the flank is excellent, especially forcing them to turn around is just massive for them. Just making sure that they focus their attention behind them rather than in front of them just gives their team a massive amount of leeway here to make some plays.
Yeah, for sure. And looks like the defuse will come through. Yeah, that actually looked a lot better from Hug. You saw that basically net they formed around them, right? So first they have the player jump out of Garage into the lower section to flank them and kind of distract them. You see the rest of the players pushing into Heaven, and then you ended up seeing Leon on the flank as well. Meant that no matter where they stood, they had to watch several angles, and it just made it so easy to isolate the 1v1s and just pick up those kills.
Forcing teams to turn around is honestly one of the best decisions you can make in any FPS game. Just like for splitting attention between two separate locations, you're just never going to be able to look at all these locations. Not unless like you've got your entire team spreading out as well. But even then, that focuses their attention to multiple different places. It just leaves you open to make some excellent plays there. And we saw throughout all of that, they really made some excellent use of that. All the space made by having that team turn around.
And you see, there's actually, I believe the Jet was running the Bucky, which is an interesting choice. I mean, she does have a lot of movement. She can get on top of you with that, but you could just see the angle and like the line of sight was not really on. This is an immediate heavy trade into sewers. Looks like it's just two players left, and actually fully caught out by Leon.
We've seen both Bob and Bull go down, so that is two of their biggest heavy hitters going down this round.
And with Jaws going down as well, that'll be the round. And yeah, that's basically exactly what you want. Maybe all 5 players alive, 4 players alive. And that means they're carrying all 4 of those guns over into this round. The goal of this round for them is to just get as many kills and do as much damage as possible before losing the round. You're not really expected to win this round. Obviously, AIM on their defense side did manage to, so we'll see if that happens. But basically the goal is the enemy team's going to be buying 5 full cost rifles this round, and you want to take as many of those away so they have to buy more coming into the next round. So essentially, 3 kills would be the ideal kind of state for them because that forces them back onto another like half buy.
Yeah. So the idea is to essentially just force buy into worse weapons to try and get rid of those heavy hitters as much as possible.
Yeah. So since AIM lost the first round, they don't get as much money. You get more money for winning. So last round they would have saved, and that's why you saw them with pistols and why it's such an easy cleanup. This round coming into
Bob and Bull here, both alongside each other, taking this separate angle here.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful pinch onto Cake. He couldn't do anything there. That dash from the Jet came out, which forced him to look that side, but then at the same time, the rest of his team rushed out of Garage. And now you're seeing 4 players left. They're going to have to try and push into this one, but the problem is they picked up a Vandal now. And that is going to look rough, especially with Bardonet going down. Tourney managed to pick one up onto Bob, though. That is a good pick. The teleport actually fails.
A second excellent snipe by Tourney onto Ball, but is killed by Jaws.
Yeah, and now Leon with a beautiful flash picks up the last kill. Actually, sorry, one more kill. And AV actually caught unaware, but the Phoenix ult comes out. This will give him a second life, even if he goes down here. You see him running away because Leon's about to snap back to where he started that ult. You see him actually get half, which is very big, but now, see, he goes all the way back to long. Now he has to try and push into this one and see if he can make something happen. He's running low on time, though. He's got to make a play happen here. And you see the Sova drone comes out. Oh, the tag hit as well. He can now see him through the walls. He's going to try and throw out another recon dart. This is beautifully played. The shock dart comes out, but I don't think it'll kill. He actually manages to stick Process fake, and he picks up.
And he does kill him. That was an insane play by there. I definitely think throughout the rest of that, though, they did get... they got more than what they wanted in terms of what you mentioned earlier, trying to just like take out as many people as possible and get rid of those guns. They got more than what they needed for that round. The pinch at the very beginning there, trying to isolate isolate for the first pick of the round was an excellent play made as well throughout the first bit of that, and
Yeah.
I feel like it was definitely a major part of you know, trying to steamroll that game as well. Excellent
Yeah,
plays made all around. We saw there.
Yeah, you just saw him get absolutely pinched, and that was really rough for, I believe it was AV or Cake, because he wasn't really able to do anything there. So that was a really good side execute, but they were able to basically just encircle them and force them back and force them out and then just pick up the picks.
Being isolated and having like 4 people surround you, it leaves you in a situation where you don't really have anything that you can do there at all. Because normally, at least if you had like 2 people, for instance, 1 on each side coming at you, it would make it at least somewhat possible for you to avoid getting pinched, because you would be able to force at least 1 person, and you'd be able to try and, you know, force your way through that. But 2 people just makes it way more difficult. That was
so rough for
excellent play,
Jaws.
unfortunately.
Yeah. That's so rough for Jaws there. He was trying to pick up that kill, but he missed the sheriff shot, and now Ball picking up another one as well onto Tourney. And all of a sudden, this initial play where they lost a player in Garage is actually where they're going to end up pushing that one. You saw that Omen was lurking in Garage, trying to set up a bit of a back angle, but since they got over there so fast, they were able to basically just reinforce that push immediately. And even though they lost their lurking player, they were able to just reinforce that entire site. And now it's a 2v4. They're both pushing from opposite ends of the map. This is going to be very hard to coordinate. And yeah, you just see
Ball takes another shot there. Ball has been getting so many limbs throughout this match. It has been insane how much he has been doing.
Yeah, I mean,
but now we're just seeing them backing up. Just are they taking another angle on B side, or it appears they're just trying to hold this angle?
Yeah, so basically he's backing up here because it's a 1v4. He's just trying to save the gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants to hold that gun to the next round to keep that Vandal on their side, because I believe their money isn't looking amazing here. So yeah, obviously saving all that money. That is actually a spot you can
trying to encourage them to walk down this hallway so that they can get some shots on them and try and kill them was a good idea there, actually.
Yeah.
Trying to get a pick just at the end
play.
It is a very bold play. It could have turned out for the worst, especially considering that their money appears to be low and that they are only 1 person. You want to try and keep that gun, but is it really worth trying to look to get in a limb rather than just simply playing your life? You know, trying to make it so that someone, at least 1 person, doesn't get to keep their gun out of those 4 people.
Yeah, and the interesting thing when you look at the money right now is that it's pretty even between the teams. And actually, I think our overlay might be wrong on that credit. It's kind of hard to see. Oh no, that's right. Yeah, so basically you see both teams are in a bit of a spot economy wise. You've got a Spectre and a Marshal on one side, and then a Spectre on the other side. So yeah, those last kills in the round could have made a big difference. But Bob immediately picking up a kill onto Cake here, and another kill as well. What you want your Jet to be doing: send her in and make sure that she is picking up as many kills as possible. Set her up for those and make sure she takes space. She took the entire site by herself, and now that is able to be kind of covered in by the rest of his team. You see the plant go down, and Bob actually still hungry for more kills.
Bob with the 3K, Bob with the 4K.
And Laywon left to do it all 1v3, and you saw the money was bad for both sides, so Laywon's probably going to save here, although he does throw out the wall. He might actually be going for this. Takes out, but there's so much Killjoy utility. You see this turret's about to spot him as he comes around the corner too. It's a good flash, but there's 2 players here, and Bob's behind, and Yuliko able to pick up that kill. Laywon in a pretty impossible situation there.
Unfortunate for Bob. Bob got very close to getting the ace there as well.
Yeah. And that's actually really big, because you see now he's got the knives online, which means that if his team still has rough money, he's going to be able to use those knives as basically a rifle and then buy a rifle for one of his teammates.
Yeah, we're seeing excellent play by Bob there. Definitely stood up and managed to get a lot of a limbs that round. Nearly getting an ace is massively impressive.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, coming into this round, you see they've picked up the AWP onto Laywon. Phoenix is not the classic character that you'd want this AWP on, but he's been playing well enough, and I mean, if you hit your shot, it doesn't matter who you're playing. So you see him get flashed off the angle immediately, but Bob's gonna swing out wide. Laywon unfortunately just misses the shot. He's playing Phoenix and he's got regen armor, which means he will actually be back to the exact same HP, but Bob is not letting him have it, chases him down with the knives, and you see as he gets that kill, he gets all of his knives back. So he's back to 5 knives, each knife will do 50 damage, and you see lands 2 there, but doesn't land the 3rd, which means AV will be able to take him down, but AV's now on 50 HP, which is going to be quite rough, but immediately throwing out that Killjoy ult and the Steel Garden, actually, they are committing ults to this, and beautiful swing by Ball, able to kind of take that one back, and can they make anything happen now with this defender lockdown? They're going to force them off the site, but the plant I don't believe is down. So they could go back and kind of. Oh, sorry, the plant is actually down. Which means
We're
they're going
staying
to
in
have
an
to try and
intense
hold
round
this
here.
one.
It is a 3v3. It is anyone's game at this point.
And with the two players playing on short, on long, watching that bomb, it's going to be really rough for the attack to push into this, especially with Jaws backstabbing and getting a kill. Noardino picks out perfect timing, and then they bait with ball, and Noardino picks up his second kill.
I was about to say, Avi really needed to play a lot slower there, I feel, especially with 25 HP. You don't know how much HP those other people are on as well. And with 25 HP, you are very squishy. One bullet would be enough just to take you out. And unfortunately,
Yeah,
unfortunately, they do overpeak there as well, and they just got taken out, which is real unfortunate.
And that's really rough as well, because Killjoy ult is a very powerful ult, and it takes a while to get online. The fact that they use that and still lost the round is very bad for them. And it's interesting as well, because the way they use that, you can use the ult on A, they shouldn't have even been able to do that, but I think they misplaced it. Wow, that was a good shot.
Attempted with the headshot there, and unfortunately didn't get it.
Yeah, and Bob just picked up another kill. He has been insane on these entries. Ball picking up one, and they cancel the Omen ult too. They know they're on C site, but they're not going to be able to do much. The Omen and the Phoenix. They're just going to have to save Leon and Tourney.
I believe we've noticed throughout like the second half of this round, we've noticed the Bob getting slightly more and more aggressive as they get more and more confident in their abilities. It has cost them a couple of times, so it is a bit of a high risk, high reward situation.
Still coming out here though. Leon actually
did manage to get an elimination on Jaws. That was a very bold play there.
The very long time, and Ball pick up another kill means Leon should just try and save this, but no, Ball picks him off before he can get that. That was an interesting time to commit the Phoenix ult. It's a very short, so you only need 6 kills, assists, or kills, deaths, or bomb plants to get that ult online, so it's quite quick to get back. So I don't hate him using it there. I don't like the fact that they forced after that. I feel like they should have just saved the 2 rifles and kind of backed off of that one and just let them have the round. It was a 3v2, and they had so much time to set up that you saw those Killjoy mollies on the bomb, and just so much setup that meant they wouldn't have been able to do anything there.
Yeah. It's unfortunate they made a decision there, and unfortunately it was the wrong one. And it does happen on occasion. You will occasionally, like everyone does it, no matter what the rank. You will make a decision, and sometimes it'll be the wrong one. We saw an excellent elim on Ball there. That is a huge. That is a huge open pick for them.
Yeah, and Tony actually picked up 2 more as well. Bob and Jules both going down. Just 2 players left now for AIM. And with another one going down, Yuliko as well. They pushed so aggressively here, and I don't think AIM was ready for it. They've just gone down and lost everyone now, really. It's just bad internet. He's tucked in the corner. Oh, sorry, Noardino. Tucked in the corner. He's going to try and push out of this one. He runs into Avi on the other side, though. Picks up a beautiful first shot, but Avi able to pick, though.
The pick at the end there was, unfortunately, he wasn't really going to survive that regardless of what he did. He was just being pinched from both sides, and it left him in a very vulnerable position. Being able to get that pick on the way out, though, is massive for him because, you know, if you're going to go down, you might as well take someone with you.
Yeah, pretty much. And that was a big round for them to win because they are on 12. So the next round AIM win, they will win this map. Hug has 4 to make up to get to overtime.
That first opening kill by Tourney there was like definitely a huge pick for them, with Ball being one of their best when it comes to, like, you know, forcing kills, you know, trying to, you know, make sure that they're up in terms of the numbers. Getting him as the first elim was massive for them in that round there.
And speaking of first elims, Bob actually going down that time. They did the same play they've been doing, but Avi managed to stabilize his aim and pick that one off. And now they've got the Sober ult too. That's going to do a lot of damage. Actually take down Jaws as well. They got the plant down, but it's a 3v5, and you're just going to see Hug here just absolutely stream back into the site. They use the Molotov to try and slow it down, but that means there's not one on the bomb site. And Ball actually getting tagged to the smoke as well. He's in a bit of a rough spot, able to pick up one, and Yuliko picks up Leon as well. Avi picking up another one, and bad internet. Able to take it down. Ball. Just a 1v2 now. Noardino has the attack with Killjoy ult, but that one goes down, and now it's a 1v1. Avi had to push to secure that kill, but he wasn't able to pick it up, and now it's a rough spot. Sova is one of the hardest people to try and clutch 1v1 against. The drone's going to come out as well, and he's running low on time. He has to make something happen. Bad internet pushes. He gets the kill. Does he have time? I don't think he does. We'll have to see. It's ticking down.
This is being a very tight end of game. Can he do it? Oh, that's unfortunate. In the Sova v Sova 1v1, he did come out on top, but unfortunately just wasn't able to defuse it in time and did lose the war. How unfortunate for them there as well.
And that's so rough because Sova is pretty much the worst person on their team to be in that situation against because he's got his recon bolt, which will ping you, and then he can see you're not on the bomb. He's got the drone that does the same thing, and then if you try and stick it, he has shock darts he can shoot from a range that will deal damage to you. So
Yeah,
it is
despite
so hard
all
to
of that,
fight a
he
Sova there.
still managed to go up against another
Yeah.
Sova and take him out. That was excellent play by him there. Unfortunately, it just wasn't quick enough.
Yeah, and you see, he did the only thing he can, which is you just have to run at the guy. If
Yeah,
if you run at
there's
him
not
and
much
you
you
pick
can
up
do
the
there in
kill,
that
yeah,
situation.
he just needed to do it earlier. I think if AV had also had played that a bit slower and waited for a 2v1, there might have been a chance there. But unfortunately,
Yeah.
they
Had
go
he
down.
had he
AIM is the winner of that one.
had he been there like a couple of seconds earlier, he would have been completely okay, least with defusing that bomb, and he could have tried to win that for his team there. Unfortunate
Yeah.
for him on the game. How do you feel like most of the people went throughout that game? Would you change anything, like change any plays? How would you change things up, at least there in terms of in terms of how you would play it if you were in that situation?
I think honestly, it was actually a really solid match. You're expecting a lot. I was expecting a lot more rushes and just kind of general kind of puppy play where you're just kind of sending it all the time. But they actually both teams played that really well. That you saw a lot of fakes coming out. You saw a lot of just in general slower rounds. I think it really came down to they just went down so early in that first half, and that's demoralizing as well to just lose so many rounds in a row. It's tough to come back from that, and the fact that they managed to do that was really impressive. And obviously, like we said, this tournament's just for fun, and these teams haven't really played together that much. So just it was, I think, a really good match. I think they needed to shut down Ball more. Ball, you can see 31 kills in that round, almost doubling the next player, which was also on their team, Bob. I think it comes down to Bob and Ball were just playing really well. You saw Lay
What we
One and
saw,
Bad Internet trying to pick up the slack, and AV actually top fragged that game, which surprised me because I think AV was just getting a lot of consistent frags. I think it was just kind of rough in terms of how well Ball and Bob were aiming.
yeah. Throughout all of that game, we saw like multiple different plays made across the board. We definitely saw like Tony make quite a few plays there as well. We saw AV make a few plays there as well. Ball and Bob, they definitely were like Ball and Bob were doing very stark, contrasting gameplay. I feel Bob was playing very aggressive at certain points in time, like definitely with those flanks going in behind, trying to get as many elims as possible, and it paid off quite a few times. There were a few times where, of course, it didn't pay off as much, and they did get eliminated either early or they got eliminated partway through. But the elims they managed to get when they were going in behind, forcing them to turn around, all those like plays that they made of the back there, definitely like it shows in the scoreboard as well as in the results.
Oh
But
yeah, for
Ball
sure.
played excellently throughout all of that. Definitely, he held the front line down, managed to get a limbs, like left, right, and center. Was playing really well throughout all of that, and
Yeah.
it shows in the kills. It absolutely insane. 31 to 13 KD.
Yeah,
Absolutely
absolutely
insane.
insane. And I think as well, the main issue is that like Ball was playing really well, and they kept pushing C. Ball got a pick or two almost every round of that starting attacking half from the side of Hug. So you really, I think they needed to adapt earlier, and you saw in the later rounds they were buying the Odin, which is really good at spamming through walls, and they were just spamming him down. They were pushing him, shutting him down, and then the couple rounds before that they won, they were just moving entirely away from him and just not focusing on his area at all. I think that's what they needed to start doing earlier. Obviously, losing the round where they buy rifles and the enemy team is just sitting on their SMGs, the bonus round, that was rough. And I think that slowed down their adaptation because if they had won that round but saw here's a problem, they might have been able to strategize more. But given how many times they had to go back down to those pistols, down to those weak guns, and just kind of run at someone, I don't think running at Ball was the play, which they did a couple times. But it makes it a lot harder to figure out what your enemies are doing when you have to keep doing these kind of more cheesy and like fast strats to try and get rid of that gun disadvantage.
Given the like the legend picks, obviously we've seen an off meta pick within this, which was unusual at the very beginning there. How would you like describe or how would you have played given the characters that they're playing into Bob and Bull in order to try and like overcome the obstacles that was their gameplay to try and just take back and try and like build up more rounds so that you could like potentially end up with a victory or just
Yeah.
like try and put more pressure on them.
Yeah, I think realistically it's the Terror pick we are talking about earlier, the off meta pick. Cake was playing that, and to be fair, I think Cake got subbed in pretty last minute. But playing the Teo right now is just not very beneficial. You saw that one play where they used the ult to make sure everyone saved the Killjoy ult. That was some big value. But the problem with his drone, compared to something like a server drone, which they also did have, I believe, yeah, Nuradino playing that one, but it just doesn't get a lot of value because it doesn't see your entire screen. And I feel like running something else, either a second duelist, or perhaps even the pretty meta pick for that map is Breach, because there's a lot of long sight lines. You're able to stun people, kind of push people off angles. I feel like something like that would have helped them a lot with, especially with dislodging Ball and Bob. Considering how well they were playing, Teo doesn't do too much right now in his current state to force people off those angles and kind of shut down those star players. I feel like running something like a Breach or maybe like a Raze or something that would able to kind of lock them down a lot easier, force them into other positions a lot more consistently than the Teo is. That would have helped a lot. Other than that, they were running pretty much the same comp. The only other difference was Leywin on the Phoenix, whereas Bob was on the Jet. I also think Jet is a better pick there. It allows you to use the operator a lot easier. For those of you who don't know, the main combo with Jet is she has a dash. You can dash to any side. If you buy the operator, you pick an angle, you shoot. If you miss, you dash out, and you're basically unstoppable because they can't kill you fast enough, except for the very rare time where you hit a random lucky headshot. So running something like that inside the Phoenix is good at getting in there and getting aggressive, but so is the Jet. And I'd argue if you switch the Teo for something that helped you get in, and then play something like Jet or Neon or Waylay, where they're able to just run onto the site and take that space, I think that would have also helped.
We also noticed throughout like a lot of that round that they did like a lot of gun buyouts, and at one point they did a full buyout, which kind of cost them partway through.
Yeah.
Are there any gun buyouts that you would have like changed or gone about like it differently, like a certain formula that you would have followed, at least with
Um,
buying guns?
they did the pretty standard thing. I think they handled the econ well. I do believe actually, are we jumping into our next match soon? But yeah, in terms of the econ question. Okay. So yeah, actually we're going to an ad break. So I guess we will see you guys back here in a couple of minutes, and then we'll jump into our next game. Yay. Can we?
Woo!
Is there any way we can get that overlay working for us? Because it's so hard.
Yeah, it's so hard to like figure out what's
Yeah.
happening without the
Can you
overlay.
can you
Can
Discord
you,
stream the OBS or whatever you're
yeah,
streaming?
stream OBS? Yeah.
Can you? I think you can full screen the preview in OBS. Obviously, it'll be tricky because you won't be able to edit anything. But yeah, because it's really tricky. We can't even see when the round ends because the spectator client we've
No,
got
we
on the actual game is literally just like the timer, the round timer, and then the minimap. And the
yeah,
minimap
it
doesn't
makes
even
it
show the
makes it
bomb.
really difficult to see things,
Yeah,
especially like with like how much money they got and all that like extra stuff
yeah.
that you need to know. It makes it a little bit difficult to try and like flick over to stream that's slightly delayed.
I think also that last part was on stream.
Oh, we're still on OBS. What the?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I believe actually anyone who's finished ads or has ad blockers can just see us right now. So hi.
Chat. Chat, why is Gohan coaching? We cannot be going Goku's.
Is he allowed to? He's streaming as well. Is it Christian?
Goku's kid cannot be coaching you guys. Gohan is lethal.
What the?
What? Can he go observers maybe? Surely.
We're on stream. We're on stream. PG guys. PG. Hi stream. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for Littles for sponsoring our tournament.
Everybody watching the stream, join my live stream.
Thank you, Littles. Thank you, Littles.
I did inform them about that change we made the first game as well, Braden. So we'll pull off the duelist for our Ascendant 3.
Easy. Thank you.
Oh, they don't have Ethan inside coach. All right. I think we're on. Yes. Welcome back, everyone. And yep, after a short ad break, we're here. And we got the next match coming in, which is
was that a yes or
Gaming
no to the coach,
versus, I believe, Just Aim again.
Oh,
so
yeah, I'm grabbing my own coach as well.
We'll
Just
be
wait.
doing a round robin style.
Oh,
every team will play every other team. Obviously, we just saw Just Aim go up 1-0 against Group Hug. So if they
he's not an actual coach
as well,
he's just streaming.
Be guaranteed to be our first place finish in this bracket of the tournament.
It'll be interesting to see how this goes because we're seeing Godia Gaming on attackers here first, and then we're seeing
support right here.
I believe it's Godia Gaming attackers, and then it'll be Group Hug. Sorry, Just Aim on defense.
Just Aim on defense. So it'll be interesting to see how they play around this because we've seen that
not ready. Wait.
Just Aim is like really good
Dumpy,
at
join my coach
attack
slot. Yes,
specifically.
we're ready.
We've seen them do really well on defense as well, but it seems like they really shine, especially Bob really shines on attack where they're able to take those separate flanks to try and make them turn around. But they have done excellently on defense as well. And Bob has made it work trying to go in for those flanks on defense just to force them to make some decisions about whether or not they're planning on turning around to deal with Bob, or whether or not they're going to focus on pushing site as well. So excellent plays all around. So it'll be interesting to see how they play, how Godia Gaming plays into this.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing about this game is actually Laywon, who was, I would argue, one of the best players on that Group Hug team. Yeah, actually was subbing in. So his main team is actually this Godia Gaming team. So we're going to get to see him again. It'll be interesting to see if he's back on the duelist, because obviously I think he came into that team literally last minute. So I'm not sure if he's gonna with the actual team, which I know him and Fat Chuggernuts have actually played together before. In fact, I'm a little biased because they are on my Premier team. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what goes on there. The other interesting thing as well is that there are actually coaches in this match. On the side of Godia Gaming, we've got Gohan, and then on this side of Just Aim, we have Respawn Dumpy. I'm not sure if he was in for the last one. I didn't see him in the lobby, and obviously they didn't take any timeouts. But if they are actually running coaches, this could be very interesting as well. We might see a bit more of like strategic development in terms of they actually might take the time to pause and kind of develop a strat, and the coach might be able to call out something that the other players didn't see.
And going over ranks here as well, we're seeing like a bit of a more consistent spread with Godia Gaming here as well. But we're also seeing like a lot of like a wide variety here. We're seeing Laywon being Platinum 1, Fat Chuggernuts also being Ascendant 2, ARP Cheetah also being Platinum 1. With everyone else ranging from Gold 1 to Gold 3. Whereas on Just Aim that we saw before, we're seeing Ascendant, Diamond, Immortal, Bronze, and Silver. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes, especially considering that, we've got like a few high ranks here as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they interact with each other, as well as having like the lower ranks as well, such as like the golds interacting with the bronze and the silvers. So
yeah,
really looking forward to seeing how this game goes.
Yeah, and it's a similar rank split, but this in terms of from the last team, but this team actually does have a slightly better chance because I know Cheetah, Laywon, and Fat Chuggernuts have played together as well, and it looks like we're jumping into Agent Select now.
Now, discussing map here as well that we're seeing as well, what are we looking to see from both teams here on this map specifically? Like, what agents are good here, and how do we, from what we can see so far, how are we thinking that these, how they play around this map, do you reckon?
So the thing about Split, it's similar to Haven in that there are a lot of long hallways. So agents like Jet do very well, especially anyone who can use the operator quite well. And then basically just agents that can cut up space or get through that space. So you're going to probably see Yorus, Omens, Rainers, potentially things like that that can have some way to get... Sorry, production's in my ear. But yeah, so especially on that A site, it's a very open site, so it's going to be very, you're kind of focusing on that thing. B site is a lot more enclosed. Obviously, you've got a kind of a massive pillar in the middle. That means you have a lot of opportunities for Sentinels like Cypher and Vice to set up. So we're probably going to see similar things to that as well. And yeah, it looks like we've started to get the first agents locked in. Both teams running the Omen again. Omen right now in this meta is pretty much considered the best smokes agent. Other than that, you occasionally see a combination of two other smokes, but you're going to see the Omen or the Clove a lot in the current meta. And yeah, we're seeing both teams running the Omen. I think that's actually it in terms of the similarities of their comps. So we should be able to see it now, yeah.
Between both attackers and defenders, how do we think that both teams should approach this? Obviously, since you mentioned that one of the points on this map is a very enclosed area, and you mentioned that the other one is a fairly open area as well. How do we think that they should, like, how do we think defenders should play around either option? Should they opt more for an enclosed area, or should they opt more for a more open area for difficulty to push point? And just giving them that option to peek it, or should we be looking for a more enclosed area that is more tightly controlled and just make it easier to defend, possibly by having those hallways just set up? What are we looking to see here from defense?
Yeah, so basically, I mean, when you're looking at this attacking comp coming into the defenders, you're going to see a lot of just kind of trying to set up this Reyna. The Reyna's whole thing is that if she gets kills, she gets abilities and she can keep going. She can either heal herself or make herself invincible for a short time. So what you're going to see here is, especially with the KO and the Skye, which is coming out, which is a very interesting pick. Skye has been notoriously quite bad in recent meta, but once again, this is a casual tournament, or maybe they have some kind of strat cooked up for this. But yeah, so basically you're going to see, no matter where they're pushing, KO and Skye are going to be throwing flashes and getting info for that play. But immediately, Rexy taken down by Jaws, that tripwire in the middle gives him full wall side of him, and he's able to take that one down.
Seeing Bobinator here as well, just looking to get some picks. Unfortunately, doesn't get a pick there on Fat Chuggernauts either.
And they want also getting a pick and Lychee picking up one. Yeah, immediately you see this B-side completely open, 1v4. It's just the Killjoy left, and he's going to have to try and make something happen here. But Yuliko was very good last game. I'm not sure he's going to be able to pull this off, though.
Do you think Reyna, at this point in time, she should try to take a kill here, or do you reckon that she should play it a little bit safer? How do you reckon that she should approach this? Because she is vastly outnumbered here.
Yeah, so since kills and deaths actually charge up your ultimate, the best thing is to put it on your strongest ultimate of your agent. So that would probably be Vise. At the same time, though, Reyna has a very cheap ult. So there is a chance they'll want this kill onto the Reyna if they track for it at all. I have a feeling they're just trying to basically bait her and make sure they can confirm the kill and they don't give her any openings. Because Killjoy immediately did actually pick up one. Shiba going down. And yeah, Lychee able to finish
Lychee
him off,
managed to get in that flank there. Unfortunate for the Killjoy there. Just having Lychee come in from behind and just like get that flank in there. Very well played by them there. Excellent play by Lychee. From this point onwards, how do you think that they should approach this? We saw in that first one that it didn't seem like there was much they could do. They were getting run through there and just like getting kill after kill. Even Bob missing some shots there at the start, and Ball also going down shortly after. How do you think they should approach this now, seeing this team in action?
Well, actually, this is a very interesting round because both teams have decided to do a gamble stack where you put 5 people on the same site. However, they've gone to opposite ends of the map. Lychee, unfortunately, cheating back towards mid. Has actually resulted in him dying to that back flank. And now you're going to see the breach and Killjoy trying to pick this one up. Rexy desperately fighting for this one. I'm not sure he's going to be able to secure this, and it's looking like they're just going to be able to push out to A, but actually that is a very interesting play. They just sent it down sewers and able to pick up a kill. Bob did get one, but they traded it back, and now it's a 3v3, 3v3. But 2 players are very low on HP.
Yeah, unfortunately, Killjoy is super low here, and as well as they've got 2 people on their team that are super low. Whereas, definitely it seems like attackers has like the advantage here, at least in terms of health. Yeah, and unfortunately,
in terms of weapons as well, it means
Eurodino go down there as well. Ball does
Yeah.
get a kill there, which is excellent. Leaves it as a 2v2, but they are both extremely low here. They do have the health advantage. And Shiba gets a kill on Ball with Fat Chuggernux getting a kill on Killjoy, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, and I mean, that's actually a very strong round. Sorry, one sec.
But yeah, that was an insane plays there from both teams. It got very down to the wire there. Unfortunately, there was just a bit of a health difference there that just left them to have to play a little bit more passive, or else, like, risk just getting, finished off a lot quicker there. Very unfortunate for them. It does leave them, 2 down in this regard. So what do you think they can do here to just try and bring this back? They have been knocked down twice. That was definitely a lot closer of a round, though.
Yeah, so I mean, they did the classic buying strategy where now you'll see AIM has full rifles on board, whereas Godia only has. They actually do have quite a good buy coming into this one with a Bulldog, but also that Ghost, which means that they're gonna have a tougher time pushing onto this round. But once again, the goal is just to take away as many guns as possible from this AIM lineup. And you see them immediately just fighting this early aggressive push. When you have Ghosts and Bulldogs, you want to get up close. So you see them immediately pushing that one out. Nardino able to pick up another one onto Rexy. And yeah, it looks like he's just able to clean this one up. 2 players left. That Reyna can be very scary, especially with this late mid flank. But actually, Jaws reads it and takes him down. And now just 1 player remaining. Leon with it all to do. This is looking like pretty much the worst case scenario in terms of what you want out of this round, with all 5 players surviving and barely any taking damage. So yeah, they're going to be able to save a lot of money in this round, which means Godia Gaming is looking at least 2 more rounds where the entire enemy team will have rifles.
That was an excellent play there by Just Aim. They did manage to bring that back there. From what we saw in the previous 2 rounds, it did seem like they struggled at the very beginning there, but that's guaranteed to happen when you don't understand how your enemy plays just yet. But seeing them bring that back there, it definitely seems like they're getting better and better with each passing round. So with each passing round, it just seems like they're managing to bring this back more and more as time goes along, just like getting used to how Godia Gaming's playing. So it'll be interesting to see how this next game will go. We've been seeing really excellent plays here as well. Godia Gaming has definitely been playing a little bit more on the aggressive side here than what we've seen from Just Aim, who's adapting their playstyle definitely to be a lot more passive. We didn't see Bob go for a more of an aggressive flank that time, did we?
No, I don't think so. They kind of just held together on the side, and that's generally what you want to do when you have the gun disadvantage like they did last round, is group up. They might have a gun that takes 5 shots to kill to the body, but if you have 5 people shooting, that's 1 shot each. So that's kind of the methodology behind it. But now we're seeing this is the full first proper round. Both teams have full rifles, and they're gonna basically it comes down to aim and tactics now. There's no economy advantage, and you see Leon missing those shots against Bob and goes down, and that's exactly what's gonna happen in these rounds. Is there's no gun advantage. There's just your own aim and your own skill. Heavy push
by
up
Bob there. That is a massive heavy push there. Fat Chuggernut does go down to Ball. Excellent shots there. Ball does go down. Rexy getting
Rexy picks up 3 though.
Rexy 3k.
Rexy was on for the ace there, but unable to
unfortunately killed by Killjoy. Excellent play by Killjoy there. Rexy was going crazy. That was definitely seemed like a very tight match there. Rexy getting doing massive work there for his team. Insane plays.
Sure. And he almost brought that back. Unfortunately, the play just came a bit too late. If he was able to pick up those 3 kills earlier, it would have been on. But you see, yeah, that was just a beautiful kind of crunch. Once again, we saw that play. They came a couple people through A main and a couple people down from heaven. And once you're shooting people from 2 sides, it's very rough to kind of clean that fight up. We also saw Rexy able to hit the flick, but it just wasn't enough.
We also saw Bob there also change their playstyle. We've often seen Bob be more on the aggressive side, often moving to push more than to just simply stay put. But just then we saw Bob manage to hold that out. He played it very patiently, and when it came time to push that corner, did it excellently, did a peek, managed to get in the damage necessary and just be able to pull it off. So that was excellent play by Bob there as well. It definitely seems like Just Aim is one of their main strengths is just adjusting their playstyle to fit what they need at any specific time.
Yeah, and you actually see an adjustment coming out from Godia Gaming now, where they've waited back for about 45 seconds, and now they're pushing in with a minute left. They're holding for an aggressive push, seeing if they can get a pick, because their money is not great here. They want to ideally try and make as many favors as possible, but you see, it just didn't pay off. Nuradino with 2, Ball with 1, and that's 1 player left now. Just Shiba. He's got the Sheriff. He's probably going to try and let them push into him, but he does want to die here. If he lives this round, he's going to get significantly less money. So you see he will go for the peaks, but he's basically just trying to wait out for that. He wants someone to push him in heaven or someone to get aggressive and swing before the rest of their team. And that is exactly what he's going to get, given Bob goes down from the sheriff one tap. Unable to correct the aim though, and that will be Shiba going down to Yuliko.
That's just unfortunate. At that point, the only thing that they could have done there is just try and look for those picks, just to try and like live that as much as they could. We've seen like Just Aim really bringing it back here. At first, like it seemed like they really struggled in that first round as well. They went down really quickly, and it seemed like GoD Gaming really had the advantage here, but they managed to bring it round. Really excellently played by them so far. So it'll be interesting to see how GoD Gaming plays this now.
Yeah, no, for sure. It looks like they're back on those 4 rifles now, on both sides. And actually, Bob opting into just using the knives, most likely, unless he ended up buying a gun. I think he did end up buying a gun at the end of that round. And yeah, with Bob getting that first early pick onto Chugga, he's gonna have to try and make something happen here. You see they hit the tripwire and immediately the shots ring through.
Bob doing exactly what Bob does best, which is just, you know, going in and like, you know, getting those kills, being the first person to get those elims. Unfortunately, they did go down. They played a bit too aggressive there.
And yeah, that's a beautiful 2 pickups. And now you see the KO ult pulled off. This ult will block all abilities from anyone. So they're going to have to just rely on their gunplay on the defending side.
Now we're seeing Lychee take their own part. They're going off on their own little side quest, splitting up from the team just to try to take those extra angles. And we're seeing it be a 4v2 here, so this will be difficult for them, for Just Aim to try and bring this back.
So Lychee's basic strategy there is to sit in vents. The players will be running over from the other side, and they won't be prepared for him to be that far forward. Obviously, with Rex picking up yet another kill, this round is fully over. I'm surprised the Killjoy isn't saving here, but I guess Yuliko thinks he can make something happen here, or maybe just trying to get some guns away because the money is quite bad. But Rexy picking up his 4th kill in the round. And yeah, I mean, that was just a really solid side take. They didn't really have any chance. They pushed up mid. They lost a player early, but they were able to just kind of trade everyone else out. And yeah, just secure mid and then secure the site from there.
We're really seeing Rexy step it up here as well. That entire round there, Rexy really just went in and started, you know, going in for the kills. It did manage to get, I believe it was 3K there throughout all of that.
I think 4 total.
4K? Throughout all of that. So that was excellently played by Rexy. We've also seen him in previous rounds. Not too much on the kill feed, but we have seen him like obviously participating in a lot of the kills, getting a few himself. So it's really good to see him, you know, just showing what he's made of that round as well.
Yeah, for sure. And he's definitely seeming like a bright spot on this team. It's someone they're gonna have to look at in terms of trying to shut him down because he's 7-5 right now.
Yeah, from what we've seen so far, how do you reckon that they need to approach this? So from like a lot of this, we've seen Bob try and be aggressive, but whenever Bob is aggressive, it doesn't seem like it seems to work out for him.
And speaking of which, pick up the kill to Lychee as well. Yeah, I think in general they just need to hold their angles because it's been a very aggressive push most of the time. And you see the main times they're getting caught out is when they manage to slow them down enough to isolate picks. Exactly like that. Ball able to use that tripwire and his own flashbang to isolate the kill onto Lay 1 and pick him off. Shiba though,
unfortunately, Shiba is going crazy with a 2K there. Excellent plays by Shiba. Now we see Killjoy here. Back trying to look.
It's a tricky spot for them to be in.
They're trying to go in for a flank of some description.
Yeah, so it looks like the Killjoy is just playing safe for now. Gonna slowly push out to mid here now that they know they're on the site, just in case they were wrapping back. But you see a good spread from the defenders here. They're gonna be able to send 2 people through CT and 1 through Heaven. That Omen ult is actually gonna throw some things into Chaos because they don't know where that Omen will be now. They might have heard him drop back site, but I don't think so. And the player in Heaven actually doesn't get spotted. Shiba able to pick up 2 more from that position, and Rexy finishes them off, denies Shiba the ace, but that is a beautiful round coming out from Godia.
Excellent plays by Shiba there as well. We're seeing like a lot of different gameplay throughout all of these rounds. One thing I've noticed definitely from the difference between this round and the previous round is we're seeing a lot of change. I was seeing timeout.
So that's
here.
The defender timeout. So I believe that will be AIM's timeout coming out. Like we mentioned in the pregame, now that both these teams have coaches, looks like they are actually using them. This will be the only time the teams can talk to their coaches. So we'll have to see what Dumpy and Gohan can tell their teams to kind of give them an edge. Obviously, Dumpy, I believe, is on the QT respawn team, one of them. So he's quite a high ranked player. So if he can give them some strategies to try and get them back into this one, I think that'll be very beneficial. Especially given that both teams should be able to force a buy here, which means this will be another massively explosive round.
From what we've seen from this round so far, we've noticed that both teams seem to be very adaptive in the way they play. We've noticed that like a lot of them have a lot of like change throughout all of this round. We've seen like you know, big steamrolls from one side to the other, but we've also seen some really close matches here as well. In your opinion, what do you reckon should be a change that we see between both teams, just to try and tip that that scales, as they seem to be very evenly matched at the moment, at least in terms of you know, how many points they've won.
Yeah, so the thing with Godia, the way they're playing right now, they are doing a lot of grouping up and usually leaving one person on a lurk. So it's about containing that big, like, explosive push. So you see here again that all four of them are in A.
Bobinator going in, getting a pick on lay one. Excellent pick by Bobinator.
Yeah, a beautiful pickup, and now he's repositioned. He should be able to pick up another one here, especially with the Renner getting hit by the tripwire. He does. Yeah, and see, this is exactly what they needed to do. They slowed them down, they isolate the fights, and then they pick off this death ball. Now, all of a sudden, with only 3 people left, that strategy becomes a lot less effective.
If there's one thing that you can always rely on Bobinator to do, it's to make sure that that aggressive push makes, like, it matters. One thing we've always noticed from Bob throughout all of this is that Bob has been making sure that when they go in and they're aggressive, they make sure that they are, you know, being aggressive in a way that is, you know, at least getting some value.
Yeah,
very rarely have we.
Unfortunate timing there. He had the flank held, but unfortunately, just as he pushes, the other player also pushes, and he ends up losing that gunfight. However,
Very unfortunate for Bobinator there.
Shiba and Chugga have managed to actually pick up a kill each. This tripwire is giving them a lot of problems, but they can jump over it. And now, actually, it's just going to be a full fight of events. I don't think they see Killjoy attacked in the corner here, though. And no, they don't. Chugga able to pick up one, but immediately straight back. He knows where he is now. Swings out from the smoke, and now it's a 1v1. 25 seconds on the clock. He needs to pick up the spike. And he's just basically got to try and read where the Cypher's playing. If he pushes into him, it's going to be very difficult. But looks like he's made the right choice. He's heading over to A. Cypher, though, rotating back through as well. And it's going to come down to Jaws versus Shiba. He's got 10 seconds. It takes 4 seconds to plant the spike, so he does have some time to play with. But he's just going to try and get that one
might
down
have
quickly.
this here.
And it really depends where he chooses to play. He planted out in the open, so this is going to be really tough for Jaws to try and figure out, because he could be playing anyway. He could be Heaven, Elbow, Main. He could even potentially wrap him screens. I don't think he will, and I don't think he would have the time to. But with the spike still in the open, it's rough.
It seems like at the moment they're both looking at different corridors here. We're seeing Jaws try and wrap around, trying to get to that bomb, just being super careful here so that they don't end up losing this. He might actually get and be able to defuse this bomb before Shiba can turn back around.
Is, can so he's planted it so he can't do it behind the wall, which means now that he knows where the player is, he's just going to be able to storm out the flashbangs. You hear the time already running down. He's forced to stick, and he's not able to do anything. Beautifully played from Shiba there, and a nice 3K as well.
Yeah, that was an excellent play by Shiba there. Unfortunate for Jaws, though. I don't think there was much he probably could have done there, given where the bomb was placed and given how Shiba was playing. But do you reckon there was anything that he probably could have done there? Should he have played aggressively, tried to look for Shiba first? How do you think he should have approached that?
Think the thing is unlike in the last map where we saw the Sova in the clutch, the thing with Skye is her flashbangs do reveal if a player is there, but that's pretty much the only way he can stall it out, because the dog takes too long to get there. He would be able to stick half if he heard the player go into dog. So I think you just needed to get to that point faster, tap the defuse, and try and force that gunfight early. It's very rough. Those situations are almost impossible to win a lot of the time. It just comes down to out mind gaming and out aiming your opponent. So realistically, if he gave himself some more time, he had more chances for that, but it's very rough.
Yeah, with little information there's not much he could have done other than just try to, you know, be more aggressive. But even then, you don't even know where she is at that point in time. He had no information on where she was, so there was no way he could have possibly known that.
It's just a very rough round, and Rexy
immediately getting a limb on ball here.
Yeah,
that's a very unfortunate pick for Just Aim there.
I wonder if the switch up of roles is affecting Ball's gameplay at all, because it feels like he's not playing as well as he was in the previous game, and switching from the Visor to the Omen is a very different playstyle. But Shiba picking up a kill to Nuradino after Nuradino picked up one onto his team. And now, actually, this round's getting a lot closer now with Bob and Killjoy both taking down a player. It's gonna have to be the push out. The main pillar, the peak was almost there, but not quite with the smoke coming out.
Yeah, Shiba unfortunately just struggling with the smoke there. Unfortunately.
That
Sheba
raft
getting
is just
2k there, and Rexy holding it down with them as well. This is a insane dynamic duo of Sheba and Rexy. This is turning out to be a really good game. Looking at like the way that Sheba and Rexy have been playing in contrast to Bob and Ball, it just seems like Sheba and Rexy have been kind of like side by side for a lot of the time, where Bob and Ball kind of thrive more in a separate kind of situation where most of the time they don't really see each other that often. Bob normally plays it along off angles and normally on flank, whereas we're normally seeing Bob in more of like the, you know, down main, that kind of situation. We don't normally see them alongside each other as much, where we've been seeing a lot more of Sheba and Rexy right next to each other for a lot of this game. They're really just holding it really well together. Their defense is really tough for Just Aim.
And
Now
we're seeing
Ball trying to hold this here. With them pushing up on Ball, Ball might be in trouble here. He does manage to get an Elim there. Unfortunately, does go down to Sheba.
Yeah, and they're on a light buy for aim here, so it's gonna not. These fights aren't in their favor. So the fact they managed to pick up one is quite good. They also got a lot of damage off onto the team, but Sheba is able to heal everyone back up with one of his abilities, the regrowth. And so now we're seeing a full health Godia Gaming 4v2 and not very good weapons. If they can recover that rifle that was dropped down, which it looks like he might have just done, it could potentially give them a chance into this round, but it's looking pretty rough, especially with the positions. You see Raider already going all the way out into spawn. Lychee is just basically hunting these guys in case they're hiding. But that wall coming up.
They want excellent shot on Neurodino.
And Killjoy picking up the rifle there did make a difference.
Rexy.
Yeah. With the 2 picks they managed to get, that isn't a bad round, but I also wouldn't say it's good. It's like the most acceptable you can get in this kind of eco rounds, but with the money and with how many rounds they've been winning, and with only 2 rounds left, you're not worried about the economy if you're on Godia Gaming here. You've got about 2 to 6k per player, and you get about 2,000 a round even if you're losing, so they're going to be good to full buy for the rest of the half.
So far right now, like looking at all the you know, looking at how much they've got, it doesn't seem like, you know, it doesn't seem like it's looking good here, at least in terms of, you know, money economy. The economy isn't looking too well for them there. You know, with it being 3 and 7, it's looking to be a very tight round here. Just like really difficult to try and get through Sheba and Rexy. They've just been playing around this really well, and it's to take like everyone else on their team lightly as well. Is not something fantastic to do. They've just really been playing around this well. They've been playing really well as a team as well. Their teamwork has been like excellent throughout the entirety of this. Just like watching how they've been playing has just been insane.
And this is actually a massive round for the decider of this half, because while this is the second last round, if AIM loses, they have barely any money to spend. They're going to be on SMGs in the next round. So those early 2 trades, the Jet for the Omen, it's really important that they're able to kind of capitalize on this. They're actually pushing into this Killjoy. This is a really smart play. They use the Steel Garden to deny the weapons.
So Neurodino getting 2 limbs. Excellent play by Neurodino. Rexy getting an limb, but does get knocked down by Ball. Oh, this leaves a very rough situation for Godia Gaming.
Yeah,
and Jaws does get the final limb on Lychee there. Unfortunate for them. Yeah, that was really well played by Just Aim there. That was excellent plays all around, and like, you know, an excellent play as well by their Breach. Just like played that round that really well, and got like 2 really crucial limbs. I feel like, especially like in this game, more than anything else, the limbs matter way more than what we saw in the previous game. The limbs are definitely like defining who wins and who loses in this, just because being up like 1 or 2 people is huge here.
Yeah,
especially with how well.
I did like the play they tried to pull off with the using the Steel Gun, but immediately Ball picks up too, so that's a really good stuff.
Chuggernauts does get Ball in turn, but they are down 2, so it was worth.
Yeah, now coming into this 3v4, the Spike Endup's actually going to reveal Rexy, which is going to create a rough spot. He throws up the smoke, you see, to try and spray him, but luckily Rexy gets around the corner, gets out of the way, and gets to safety.
Rexy isn't alone here, though. We've definitely been seeing a lot throughout this that they have been Godia Gaming has been very grouped up here. They definitely play like a lot more as like a singular unit, as opposed to the way that opposed to like the way that we've been seeing Just Aim been playing throughout all of this, which they've definitely been playing a lot more separate.
And the heavy push up mid. Juggernaut's picking up his second kill on the round. Able to be traded back actually, and this is play in the smoke.
Ooh. Unfortunate by Killjoy, and
Yeah.
excellent play by Fat
Juggernaut.
Sorry, I try not to laugh every time I say the name, but
yeah, it's very funny. That was really good presence of mind from him, which is really unfortunate timing. I think I just cast
good
a
play by Ball. This is a 2v1, puts them in a very positive position here.
Wow, my eyes are down.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you see that Bob is quite far away, so Rexy able to pick up the spike. He's only got 20 seconds, so he's not going to be able to leave, and he's going to run into this tripwire unless he spots it. He does, but he's got 6 bullets in the mag to kill 2 players. He managed to pick up the first one. He's got 13 seconds. He has to plant.
Excellent play by Rexy there. Insane clutch. He was down.
That was insane.
Down. It was a 2v1 and still managed to bring it back with 6 bullets left in the mag. That was excellent plays.
The last bullet in the mag was all he had left. That was actually insane. Wow, there's no tactics to analyze there. He just played that insanely well. He managed to isolate the first fight, pick him off in time for before Bob managed to get over there, and then just a beautiful shot with the last bullet of his mag, manages to control the recoil and take out that kill. That is insane.
But I see what you mean, what you said earlier about Ball just really like feeling like they're not in the zone here. We haven't seen Ball do too well, at least in terms of their KD this round. They really just have, I feel like they have been struggling a little bit more just this round on, you know, just way more than they did in the previous round. I feel like maybe potentially it's their aggressive playstyle that they just haven't been able to just make use of with how well, you know, how well Godia Gaming has just been playing as a unit. It just makes it very difficult for him to just try and
One difference has definitely been Bob, and Bob able to pick up the first kill, but unfortunately Leon and Rexy just immediately trade those kills back, and now they've got the spike. This is going to be so rough for them to push in. This pistol round seems like it's definitely going the way of Godia Gaming, which will put them in a very solid lead because you expect them to win the next round as well. But there's still 2 players left, and there's no reason not to try and fight this one out. There's a chance that AIM can win this one, especially if they manage to hit these early shots. And that's actually a pretty good start. With Rexy down to 21 HP and no ghost, it's going to be very rough for him to try and pull this one out. He's going to have to rely on his teammates. Manages to almost pick up that first kill, but just goes down. Now 2 very low players in this 2v2, 40 seconds left, but they don't have the spike. That's the main challenge that they're running into here. But manages to pick up the first kill as Lychee, and now it's in a rough world for Ball. He runs out of ammo, and he will go down.
Game for Ball. It really does seem like Ball's just struggling without being able to play their signature character. Not to say that they've been playing bad at all, but they just haven't been able to make the most use of it like they have previously.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially the thing with Vise is Vise, which is the character he was playing last round, is so strong at holding it down an area and kind of claiming that territory. And unfortunately, Omen does not do that well, and that's where we were really seeing Ball thrive, especially on defense. Hopefully, he can kind of figure out where he sits on this team and figure out a good position to play and get that mojo back. Otherwise, I think Godia Gaming might be running away with this one.
I mean, we've really just like throughout all of this, we've just seen like humongous plays by like Lychee and by Leywon just throughout all of this. They've both been playing extremely well. It's been like really difficult for Just Aim to try and like get through those 2 plays specifically, just with how well they've been playing. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they can do here.
Yeah, and I mean, you see immediately the first pick. This round should be pretty rough for the side of Just Aim. I don't expect them to win this one, especially with that flashbang. Beautiful rain of flash, but Rexy just can't hit the shots.
Unfortunate for Rexy. Ball does get a pick though. Neurodino does also get a pick on Fat Juggernux as well, which is a huge play for both of them, being them down 2 and them only being down 1. But
yeah, and especially if they can recover these rifles, it really just swings the tide of this kind of round. Because if all of a sudden you're the team with all the rifles, it makes it a lot easier to win.
Well, it makes it all the more better that you know Godia Gaming is down like one of their better players, so it does leave Just Aim in a better position here to try and do something.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think Leywon does get the timing there just a little bit wrong. Ball able to just get into that position beforehand, but now he's sitting in this off angle. I think they know he's there because he did get the kill in fence, and they wouldn't have had him cross. But this is a really dire round now for Godia Gaming. They're gonna have to try and make something happen.
Ball flipped my Ball. Unfortunately, does go down, but that was an excellent play by Ball there. Absolutely insane. I apologize, Ball, for anything that I said to you.
Yeah, I think we reverse cursed him. We were just talking about how he needs to kind of find his comfortable position, and it seems like he did. He got that early lurk off, got the free kill, and then that was a risk-breaking flick coming out from him there. But that was a beautiful shot, and you've got to be feeling energized after that one. I feel like if he was feeling bad about his performance before then, he's definitely not now, and he feels like he's way more in this game.
We can definitely see right here that Ball does appear to be just trying to like work on their aim a bit more here. They're trying to get warmed up. They know that they feel that they're not in a good mindset right now, and they're trying to make sure that they can get into that good mindset just so they can make some good plays here. And if Ball keeps up doing what they did in the previous round, I'm sure
but you get to buy your own as well.
we see Fat Chuggernut's getting a kill on Bobinator. Unfortunate for Bob. Ball does get 2 kills right here. That is an insane play by Ball. Ball definitely warmed up now.
Yeah, it feels like he's really feeling himself now. And
Jaws
Rexy
getting
able to
2
pick up
kills
the
on Lei One and Sheba, which is an excellent kill considering they are the heavy hitters of that team.
Yeah, and now it's just, speaking of heavy hitters, Rexy left in the 1v3. He's able to pick up a rifle. The question is, will he go for this? His team saved this round, so they will be able to buy rifles, but it looks like he's hesitating about it. He's probably asking his
waiting
team.
for him to push. Ball is ready for him to try and make a play here.
Seems like he's just trying to bait them towards him to pick up some extra kills. However, I don't think it's going to really matter for Just Aim. They have so much economy from winning that round where they saved that they shouldn't really be in too dire straight. And yeah, I think Rexy's just having a bit of fun with them, trying to force them into a fight, but looks away at the wrong time and Ball
excellent kill there. Oh, that was Ball is 100% warmed up now. If he wasn't before, he is locked in.
Yeah, you've got to be feeling good after 2 rounds like that, and I feel like that is really going to show on his play now. He went from, I believe, almost bottom of his leaderboard to now the top. So
he went from almost like, I believe it was 6 and 7, 6 and 8, all the way up to now 14 and 11, top of the leaderboard. Excellently done by Ball. 100% all the way locked in. Doubters only make him stronger.
Yeah, well, hopefully, I guess we should keep doubting him then, because I really want to see him pop off here on this entry. He's coming in, and he's got an early fight he's got to take against this Reyna. Lychee, see if he can get anything happening here on the Reyna. Doesn't manage to, and Ball picks him up.
On Lychee.
Yeah, and now you'll see the flashbang comes out, and the dash into heaven will actually catch Chugga off guard. He's able to pick up that kill, and he's still gone for more. Bob is ready for this, but he gets hit by the Skydog. He's concussed. Can he make anything happen? No, Lei One picks him up, but Iridino immediately trades it back. Rexy coming into the backstab, able to pick up that kill as well. 2 on site, 2 in heaven, and 1 pushing from behind. Can Rexy make anything happen here? He's got the first play up high. Can he pick it off? Yes, he can, but he takes a bit of damage there, and he doesn't know about the backstab.
Dude,
he manages to get out of the way.
This is winnable for Rexy. A 2v1 is far easier than the 3v1. And he did manage to get that elim on Ball. He did manage to get an elim on Jaws, but unfortunately was not able to get the elim on...
I believe that's Yuliko. Yeah, that was a really nice flick. He had to shoot the alarm bot, and then flicking up to heaven was really nice. Unfortunately, there's just too many targets there, because you've got to break that bot so you can get in. But then once you push in, you've got 2 players watching you. So the second he goes to shoot the other player, you just get swung on, and then he can't do anything there. It doesn't have the adjustment, doesn't have the flick.
Losing the final 1v1 at the end there is unfortunate, but getting the 2 kills there is definitely worth all of it. He definitely did not go out of there without getting any value.
Yeah, and the economy is still quite slim for both teams. Since there's been so much trading back and forth, you've got Just Aim on a bit of a better buy in terms of their economy. But Chuggernut, speaking of, manages to pick up the first kill, sprays him down with the Stinger, and unfortunately won't recover that rifle, but that is a good pick, especially given that they do have weapons that can be competitive here. They've got Sheriffs, they've got Stingers, they've got a Marshal and a Spectre. And Jaws able to take down
getting
Lei One.
a limb there as well, leaving it as a 4v4.
Yeah, and that's the neural theft coming out. They know where all their players are, and now they're going to use the Omen Ult as well. Just get straight onto the site, secure the B site while that bomb rotates through spawn. And now Godia Gaming has to try and kind of rally together
here as well.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to try and take the early contact here. Actually manages to
manage to get a limb on Rexy. Rexy's seeing the end of the previous 2 rounds, but now it doesn't seem like he'll be seeing the end of this one. Ball having to back it up here. He does get another limb on Fat Chuggernut, but does get killed by Sheba. Unfortunate for Ball there. That was an excellent plays there as well, managing to get some really good limbs. Jaws getting a kill on Lychee as well. Unfortunate for Lychee.
Yeah. The reason he's crouched there is because he doesn't want his head to be available to be shot from heaven while he throws that flashbang. So it looked really stupid on our end, but there is actually a reason to do that. Unfortunately, he just gets flanked, he gets caught out, and yeah, it looks like
unfortunate for Sheepy Red not get a limb by Killjoy. We've actually seen Killjoy do really well this round. I feel like we've been seeing Killjoy like really taking a stand here a lot more than we did in the previous game. It seems like maybe Killjoy is just catching a stride here. 11 and 9 is an excellent like kill to death ratio by Killjoy here. Really just like keeping her team up. Whereas we're not seeing as well as good here with Bob. Bob just like really struggling with 13 and 16, which is very different from what we saw in the previous game as well. It just doesn't seem like this game fits Bob's playstyle. But it'll be interesting to see where they go from here.
Yeah, and I mean, Just Aim has made a really good comeback here. Obviously, down very heavy and then losing that pistol round. It looked really rough, but they were able to win the bonus, and now they just snowballed their economy into yet another round. You see Godia Gaming coming in with, I believe, a Bulldog and a Guardian, which means that they don't have that full firepower online that Just Aim will have, which should be an advantage, but also we've seen them do some crazy things with Bulldogs and Guardians in this game, so I wouldn't write Godia Gaming off.
We're seeing both Fat Chuggernauts, you know, holding those angles there, not wanting to be the first person to peek.
Yeah, for now, it looks like Chuggernauts is just trying to kind of clear out this utility, slow them down. But you see with the smoke coming out, and Shiba actually picks up the first kill.
Getting that excellent limb on Jaws there.
And it looks like, yeah, Chugga is able to use that teleport to get back out, and now they're pushing into B, but there's 4 players already there. Jet dashes through the wall, gives Leon the early info,
does
and
go
will take it
down.
down.
How unfortunate.
Yeah, you see that he was trying to do the same thing he was doing in the previous match, where he just dashes straight into sight, but without his team there, and with just, you know, the players on Godia Gaming aiming a bit better, he's just immediately shut down by that. No chance to really make anything happen there. And now it's just this slow mid push, but with 20 seconds left, I'm not sure they really have anything in this round.
I think we really I think one of the best things that we could possibly see here would just be like a change in change in playstyle by Bob. Just like a small change in playstyle might be needed in order for them to be able to try and get more value here.
Yeah,
Bull does try to plant, but unfortunately does get limbed by Leywon. Just surrounded at all sides. Just not really too much of an option there.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the playstyle switch up that they've had in this game compared to the previous games, where before they were using Bob a lot of the time as the tip of the spear. They'd send him in and then throw utility in behind him and then swing around. I mean, it happened a lot on the C side. It feels like they just don't have that kind of style of attack on this map. And if they can figure out a way to basically just send Bob in and set him up to just get as many kills as possible, like they were doing in the previous map, I think they have a good chance to come back in this one. But for now, 8-10 is the scoreline, which means 3 rounds away for Godia.
Bob thrives in an environment that like he's just able to go in and like take attention away, as well as like maybe just getting a limb or two. Unfortunately, we're just not really getting. He's just not really getting that option to be able to do that here. And unfortunately, does go down to Leywon along with Ball. That leaves their 2 best players down. Really unfortunate here, making it very difficult for Just Aim. It's not looking good for them right now, but they could still bring this up. We have been seeing Killjoy played very well throughout this game, way better than we saw in the previous game. We're also seeing Leywon holding this high ground here, just really trying to hold that site, trying to drag them in, bait them to push up. It appears to be working at least somewhat.
Yeah, I think they're basically
trying to take that angle. It does unfortunately go down to Shiba, and Leywon does take out Miradino. Very unfortunate here.
Yeah, I think they were. That's a very interesting pause they took there. Because they waited a long time in A main, but they didn't wait long enough for Jaws to actually get a flank off. So I'm confused why Jaws didn't either stick with the team or move earlier during that time. And it looks like that'll be AIM's second timeout coming through. So yeah, it's
not completely unexpected. I think AIM does need to change up quite a few things. Like one thing in particular is obviously trying to either get Bob to change their playstyle around a bit, or just trying to enable Bob a bit more in their playstyle. They just haven't really gotten too much of an opportunity to do that, though, just considering how well Godia Gaming has been playing. It's just made it really difficult for them to kind of do anything. Godia Gaming has been playing this really well, playing really well with each other. It might just come down to communication at this point.
Yeah, it feels like he should, like, I get that he has a lurking playstyle and that he wants to try and find those alternate angles, but I feel like Goated Gaming is holding the angles and just kind of sticking to that, and where he's not finding those openings where he can get really deep and get behind. So I think they just need to focus on bringing him back in with the stack and using him as that entry point and as that primary contact of engage. Because otherwise, I feel like he won't be able to really get anything done. But yeah, he's just been dying on the flank constantly.
The most successful plays we've seen from Bob throughout all of this game has mostly consisted of him being alongside another teammate. Bob often does thrive by themselves, but I feel like in this situation, the way that Godia Gaming has been playing is they play very, they play very well and they play very together, and it just makes it really difficult for Bob just to do anything, especially since every time Bob tries to take those alternate angles to try and do something, there's almost always a second person there, just making it very difficult for him to really just use his playstyle effectively in a way that can't be shut down by Godia Gaming.
Yeah, for sure. And you see them immediately tripping that wall will block you off if you go on the other side of it. So you can jump around through it, and with the second it takes to activate, you can kind of get out of the way, which will be rough for Leywon now, because now he doesn't know if they're pushing out in main if he leaves this angle. So it kind of forces him to stay here, hold this down, and make sure that he's just holding the site and stopping this push.
We're seeing Killjoy up there on the top left map, just really taking up that near B side. Trying to take,
yeah, but doesn't expect the corner push.
Unfortunately, does get caught by Leywon. Outside of,
that's a great adaptation, because with the wall down, you have to be watching that angle. And so Leywon pushes up and goes for that pick, and now you can see he's in B main. But meanwhile, they're going up mid. Jaws picks up the first kill for Shiba. Bob will go down to Lychee, though. Doesn't expect that play. We've seen brawls and vents constantly, and Lychee is carrying it on. Beautiful
Lychee going absolutely insane at the end there. Absolutely insane play by Lychee. It will be extremely difficult for Jaws here. Jaws will need to get rid of all three of them if they want even a remote chance at trying to survive this. But they are all swinging him. And unfortunately, he does go down. And that means that Godia Gaming wins the game.
Not yet.
No, not quite yet. Sorry. My apologies. They win that match, and it now goes on to match point. My apologies.
Yes, that is all good. And
that really shows how little I know about Valorant.
Hey, it's fine.
Professional player. What can I say?
Yes, of course. I mean, you have thousands of hours in Valorant, right?
Yes,
but yeah, so this is make or break, and it's gonna be quite rough because I believe their economy is pretty bad here coming out of just aim. Let's see what they get. Yeah, I think it was a Guardian, a Bulldog, and 3 rifles, so not the worst, but it will be quite rough for them to try and make something happen here, especially with someone taking an early shot, I believe. And yeah, immediately Killjoy going down. That's the spike down as well. And Rexy with a beautiful pickup as well. It's looking dire. They have to make something happen here with 3 players left. It's going to be up to Jaws on this backstab down mid. Can he make anything happen? There's no players watching him right now. If he can push forward and get a little more aggressive, something might be able to happen. But with Rexy and Ball both picking up a kill, it's going to be pretty rough. Chogonauts does go down, and actually Ball picking up his 3rd.
Ball managing to bring it back to 2v2. I was about to say, it does not look good when you're down by 2, especially in this scenario where you're at match point. But Ball does manage to bring it back. Insane play by Ball. Ball really bringing it back here.
And if there was ever any doubt about him, I reckon this is just silencing it. He's on the ace here, but Jaws will actually steal that one. And now it's Cypher coming out. Shiba picking up one.
Shiba, leaving it at be Shiba versus Ball. This is one, the winner takes all here. This is going to be rough.
Just Aim is fighting for their life here to try and secure this 2-0, but
if Just Aim wants to take this into the next round, if they want a chance at being able to win this, his Ball is going to have to clutch up here and prevent Shiba from doing anything. Shiba being very careful. Shiba almost knowing that Ball is around. Tries to go for it. Ball does unfortunately go down.
And
will Shiba get the defuse off? It will be close.
No, he doesn't actually. Sorry, I told it early.
Ball does manage to get it for them. Insane play by Ball. Ball did not win that 1v1, but however, did manage to still get the game. Or sorry, did manage to get the round and save the game. Absolutely insane. That was nail-biting at the end there. That was so close. It almost seemed like Godia Gaming had that in the bag, but Ball managed just to delay long enough just for the bomb to be able to go off and not be defused at the end there.
Yeah, there was half a second left on that defuse. I feel like Shiba just needed to get more aggressive quicker. He tapped the bomb a couple times, but it was just a situation where Ball just read him perfectly and was able to kind of waited out, and then he pushed in, and that was just over. Bob actually misses the jump back. That was almost really bad for him.
We also saw a lot of mistakes being made at the very beginning there, and it seems like they're making them here again. I'm not sure if it's the stress of match point, but they have been making a lot of mistakes on their entry here, being always the people with being first picked. On this match point, it must be the stress getting to them. Ball does get in a limb, but he is half health. It is not looking good for him with 3 people there.
And Chuggernuts
does kill him with the ult.
That will be the game.
Unfortunate.
And that was intense. I feel like that was the story. Maybe we focused on him too much, but that was the story of Ball. He was not doing well in those first couple rounds, and they were struggling. And then just to see those last couple plays come out from him, it showed he was fired up. He was ready to go. Unfortunately, just the rest of his team got picked off early there. You saw what happened to Bob there is he triggered the wall and tried to jump back behind it mid-jump, but missed and was forced to dash out into the middle of the site. And then once you're there with 2 players on site swinging you from 2 different angles, there's no way you're winning that. So he was picked off. The rest of the team was just trying to rush in and help Bob, but rushed in too late. They'd already killed him and then just cleaned up the rest of the team. And then it was just down to Ball, and unfortunately couldn't pull that off, couldn't pull off the 4v1.
It really just seemed like at the end there, it just came down to like the stress of the game. Both teams played that like really well, but once it got to match point, it just seemed like Just Aim really struggled to like maintain their composure at the end there, and it cost them that game, unfortunately. We also saw that at the very, very end there, we saw that Ball brought it back. He ended up being top of the leaderboard at the end of that game, despite struggling early on. So it really did manage to bring that back, but we just didn't see a lot coming from Bob there throughout that game. It seemed like Bob was really just struggling. It's really unfortunate to see.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a close match, 9-13, slightly closer than our last game, and I think this is going to be an interesting matchup now, because Just Aim beat Group Hug, and now GoD Gaming has beaten Just Aim. So unless there's some crazy upset, you'd expect this next match to be a bit of a roll. But at the same time, the beautiful thing about Valorant is sometimes you're hitting your shots, sometimes you're not. All of a sudden, a game that should be a slam dunk can all of a sudden turn into a close nail biter. And that's, I think, what we're all hoping for here. We've got 1 round left.
Oh, just to look back at that like previous game, is there anything that you reckon like could have been done better just to like try and push for that little bit further? Do you feel like there's like any, because we definitely saw a lot of mistakes at the very end there more than anything else, but do you feel like there's anything that like they could have done maybe in terms of like ult economy, they could have done in terms of like, running at certain weapons, or just like playing in a certain way that you feel like could have just made it go a little bit easier for them?
I think it sucks to focus on Bob a lot in that situation, but I think once again, either force it, like getting him into that ball, like that death ball, and just sending it in, or alternatively, he was playing really well with the AWP. We saw him hit most of his shots. I wouldn't have hated an attacking side AWP there, especially with how much Chuggernuts was playing around mid, and the fact that they didn't have a Cypher or a Killjoy to actually hold down mid. They had to have Chuggernuts there holding it. If they were able to pick him off with like an AWP or just send it down mid more, that opens up the map massively, because all of a sudden then you can push from pretty much any angle as the attackers. You can go through B main, you can go through heaven, you can go through A heaven, or you can go through A main. So I think putting more pressure on mid, potentially with a Bob buying that operator, and then you can even swap it out after, then swap it with one of your teammates and then go in as the entry as well. I think being that more central like spearhead would have been really helpful for Bob, but also I think it just came down to GoD Gaming was aiming really well. Rexy was insane. If Rexy didn't win as many clutches as he had, I think that actually would have been a Just Aim win, just off his like clutch 1v2, clutch 1v3s alone.
I think also like communication came down to it a lot. Like what we saw from GoD Gaming more than anything else is one of their biggest strengths is that they just appear to be really, really good at communicating with each other. More than anything else, we noticed that they really played as a unit. There was like a lot of situations where they won it just purely off of like knowledge of what's happening, what's going on, how we're going to play this. And it just seemed like maybe Just Aim just like didn't have that level of communication, at least to the same extent that GoD Gaming had, which is just really unfortunate. It's, not something that you can always change, obviously. Not everyone in this competition for this casual side has played with each other a lot. And obviously you're not going to be perfect just by playing with each other for a while. But it just comes down to like who can come together as a team and really just like play better as a unit. And it just seemed like GoD Gaming just was able to really pull together and mesh really well with their play styles to like really take over that game, which they really did, especially at the end there, where we just saw like a lot of different plays from
Oh, that's
a lot of them just across the board. But amazing plays from both teams. It was incredible.
And I think the interesting thing to say about Good Ear Gaming, to sing their praises a bit, is that Lychee on the Reyna, you expect when you pick that Reyna to kind of, be the best player and be the player that's, getting frag after frag, getting those openings. But the way they were more playing it is that Lychee would go in and be that first player that would draw the crosshairs away, do some damage, and then you'd actually see Rexy a lot of the time being the second person in, and Rexy's the one picking them up, which is really good communication, and it's really hard to play Duelist and to know that your role is to run in and die so your teammates get kills. Because especially people who like playing Duelist like getting the frags, they like getting the kills, which is the struggle that a lot of players playing in ranked run into, is that they feel like, I'm not going to jet dash into the middle of the site because I'm going to die. It's like, yeah, but your team can kill the people that kill you, kind of thing. So I think they played really well.
The idea of just like forcing out the enemy team into an unfavorable position through being that bait, 100%. That is a good way of like going about it, and I guess it's very difficult because when you play ranked across any FPS game, you're putting a lot of trust in your teammates by doing things like that, and it's not something that you often have that ability to do. So when you come across teammates who could make use of it, it's just really difficult to put that aside just because it's something that you're so used to. But within this situation, communication is key and trust is everything, especially when you need to rely on these teammates to like win the game within this circumstance where communication is way more prevalent than it would be in ranked per se.
Yeah, for sure. I believe we have a sponsor read, and then I think we'll be going to a break, and then after the break, we'll have the final match of our tournament, which sorry, but yeah, we need to talk about Little's, our sponsor for this tournament. We got to thank them a lot. This tournament wouldn't be possible without them. And so yeah, that's I think all we have for the end of this game. So we're gonna go to a quick break, and then we'll be back on for Group Hug versus Go Deer Gaming. Okay. Yeah, sorry.
Cool.
I was like, I just sent you a message being like, "Is there a script?"
Yeah.
And then you didn't say anything.
There's
I was like,
no script. There's no script. Don't worry.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
They're just personal injury lawyers.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't even know what they did, so I'm gonna be like, go check them out if you're personally injured.
Go check out Littles if you want to know what they're about. You want to know about everything about.
Also,
them,
the reason why I couldn't opt through mid, they had 5 flashes.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm like,
using so much
how the
that when you ask me questions like, what do you think they did alt economy wise? I was like, dude, I was not looking at the alt economy. I could not tell you.
I was just given like a rager options. I was like, oh fuck, what are we talking about? The play style, guns, the guns,
the guns.
What could they have shot better?
That was a really rough game. We had not as much team cohesion on that second map.
Yeah, I'm gonna quickly go to the bathroom as well.
Because
I am too, actually.
Yeah.
I think we both have wireless headsets though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you get to listen to me. Yep. All right. I see the thumbs up. Breach wasn't really initiating into anything, but we weren't giving him the calls either. And then, Skelly, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then Omen kept counter calling my calls. So like I'd call go B and then he just said go away and then like I died. Trying to be like, what the fuck?
Interesting.
But,
my voice is on stream for the first time now.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Was that on stream?
Was what on stream?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was. Whatever you're saying right now is on stream, bro.
Oh, hi stream.
Hi stream.
Thank you, Littles. Thank you, Littles, for sponsoring us. They're a personal injury law firm, and they specialize in a lot, honestly. Injuries, workplace claims, motor vehicle accidents, anything to do with you, pretty much. They can handle, I guess, is the way to put it. They're compensation lawyers.
Get your fair compensation.
Get your fair compensation, definitely. And there's no win, no fees, and no consultation fees either. So if you got injured or know anyone, definitely just call them up and get your claim looked at. Very nice. Anyways, that last game was definitely very well played from the other team. I honestly thought Rexy was smurfing. I'm like, holy moly, I swing this and there's a flash in my face and I can't see anything and like
Splash,
I have a headache.
Splash. Oh, they're back.
Right, I'm back. Right.
I'll mute myself again.
Okay. I'm gonna get
Goodbye,
back.
stream.
Yeah, actually,
That's your
I guess
production stream. I'll
Yeah.
be spectating you this time.
Well, while we have some downtime to fill, Bob, if you did want to jump back in and kind of talk through that game, I'm not sure how much stream heard of what you're saying earlier.
Yeah, I just did a
Um,
little quick deep dive into like what was happening
Yeah.
behind that side of things, but pretty much just team cohesion wasn't really there for that second map. And like me personally, I don't like eating flashes, and I ate a lot of flashes.
Yeah, they had a
And
lot of flashes.
yeah, the thing is, I play a low sense, and I rely on pretty much holding angles, and I can't flick away fast enough. Is my issue.
Yeah.
It's a matter of play style. Yeah, it's a very big counter to me. Like with the op, you definitely saw Haven where I just held an angle and I hit that. That's pretty much all I'm good for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
having split where you pretty much have to be a spin botting to clear all the corners, it's kind of rough.
So was that your guys' decision to go to split, or how does the map veto work?
So split was their choice. So Cake pretty much just told us, hey, you guys pick first map, we'll pick second map. So we just chose Haven, and then they chose split.
So yeah, so naturally you guys felt more confident on
Yeah.
Haven, and then going into split.
Yeah,
Obviously,
definitely.
Like you're saying, not a good map for you. So that was a bit rough. What do you think about this last match we're going into?
Well, going against what are the team names again? I'm blanking.
Group Hug is the team you played first, and then Godia Gaming, which is the team you just played.
Group Hug definitely has potential, especially with the team that they have, which is Cake. Cake's actually a really good player. Yep. And then swinging against AV was quite scary, honestly, in that first game, because I'm pretty sure I go negative against him. Like,
yeah,
really
AV was
bad.
a bit of a sleeper pick because he wasn't getting many big frags, but you could see the impact they had when you saw the scoreboard at the end. He was top fragged, so clearly
like
was
personally, I went 3-5 against him, and that's the worst I did that play.
Yeah.
But saying against that, Godia Gaming is really, really good. Shiba is actually really underrated in terms of positioning. Like them playing B Heaven on that, they're just really good positioning wise. And Rexy is really scary to flash into because he comes from CS and he plays the CS agent, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that checks out.
ultimately, coming into this last map, which is Ascent, I'm probably gonna hedge my bets on Godia. Godia, I definitely think are more comfortable here. So
yeah,
From your experience within the game. Oh, sorry.
No, you
from
go,
your experience within the game, what do you feel were like the weaknesses of the two teams that you went up against? So the weaknesses of Godia Gaming, as well as like the weaknesses of Group Hug.
swinging against Godia Gaming, they played split to its map theory, which is lurk up and then execute, right? As you do on any map. In terms of why we lost that game, it's probably because we were just uncoordinated. Playing against them, we really didn't find any flaws. That Vice setup was pretty good. KO is really good. Sky flashes are being like thrown into my face.
Yeah. Were you surprised to see the Sky there?
No, not really. I'm actually going to tell my breach player to play Sky so that we have more info on the flashes. But playing from Group Hug has, in terms of trading, is very different as well. I think Group Hug definitely has weaker trading compared to Godia. So that's going to be a very interesting aspect to take a look at, right? Whether or not players swing off each other, because I think off the group average, in terms of just team cohesion and communication, I think just from playing against them, I can tell that Godia Gaming has a lot more comms.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that does partially come from, I know at least Chuggernuts and Lay1 have played together. Like I said earlier, they are my premier team. If I wasn't casting this, I'd be probably playing with them. But yeah. And I mean, it shows. And Lay1 is a really good IGL as well. He's good at just communicating simple strats that work really well when you haven't practiced a map. So I think that definitely comes into it. And then, yeah, like you were saying, they're just playing as a group. They've got really good trading. They just kind of play off each other. And I feel like it's really hard to find an opening in that one. We're actually going to, I think, be jumping into the game now, though. Bob, you can hang around if you want, or otherwise.
Yeah.
I
think I'm spectating as well. But I think for the Ascent pick, you've got your default agents, which is Omen, Killjoy, Sova, KO, and then some sort of duelist to fill that because
Yeah, usually
it's
I
quite
think-
flexible.
Yeah, there's a lot of Jet. We've seen a lot of Waylay coming out recently. Some of the teams in the VCT have been running Waylay, which has been interesting, and it'll be interesting to see if anyone tries to pick that one up.
I think with the Waylay especially, since it's such a team-focused duelist, there's really no solo utility that it has, right? Aside from maybe the trackback. When you do the double dash, you have really long animation times, and then you throw the slow. It's not really easy to throw either. So
yeah, and it's hard to get your gun up because the dash also puts you away, and so does this.
the dash does.
Saturate. Yeah.
So watching these. These aren't fully formed teams, so I don't think we're going to see a Waylay pick here. It'll definitely be the easier agents for clearing corners or just dive duelists, which is your Raze or Jet.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure we will see... Oh, we have a Cypher, which is fine.
Yeah, Cypher actually does have...
mid.
Yeah, so there's actually 2 kill traps you can run on the A site, which means that when the players have to swing into them to actually shoot the kill trap. And there is a double one you can do, one for tree and one for main, which is very strong on this map. I'm kind of surprised to see Chuggernauts heading over to the Killjoy instead of the Cypher, to be honest, because of that. I think Vise and Cypher are generally your picks on this map, but I mean, Killjoy can work too. You've got the classic turret on top of that box on B main.
And then there's a unkillable setup on the B as well.
Yeah.
So... I think this is exactly the team comp that I've listed for default Ascent.
Yeah, pretty much the one that
Good Gaming, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yes, Good Day Gaming.
But we've got the double smokes on attack, which is quite interesting. I find they've only got 2 flashes, which is the Phoenix for close range, and then the Omen.
Yeah, which
gonna be
in terms of the map. Right?
We have a Rexy lineup. Holy moly!
In terms of the map, what do you guys reckon is probably like the strengths and weaknesses of this map in general, like in comparison to like other maps? What is its like the aspects of it that makes it different from other maps?
I think with Ascent, it's the map where theory has been played out, and now it's pure mechanical aim. This is a CS:GO map of Valorant, I suppose.
Yep.
There's only one way to play it, and it's default mid and hit a site from mid. You have to take mid space, and then you just pretty much hope you don't die.
So you would say it's like a map that's kind of like been perfected in a way.
Yeah,
like,
this is going to be a very interesting swing because... Okay.
I think we're into the game, but unfortunately, I don't think we can see it right now.
Good plan.
Yeah, so I think we're just having a slight trouble. There we go.
We will be slightly delayed, but something is happening, I'm sure of it. That is exciting.
There we go. Yeah, so we can see the push out from the Jet onto the site. And it looks like they actually managed to preemptively close door, which is going to make the retake here a bit more rough. But
Ake really just having to duck behind cover there with 2 people swinging that corner there.
Yeah, and now the Heaven push comes through, but
Blurb does manage to get a limb there, but does get killed by Shiba.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, and now with the 1v1, Sova 1v1, but the Spike's already been down for quite a lot of time, and Shiba has 21 HP. He's going to have to try and make something happen here, but not getting scanned by the recon is going to be rough. He doesn't have a lot of intel, and he gets picked up by the enemy recon too. He taps the bomb. That's going to put a lot of pressure.
He's going in for the push, trying to go in for Shiba. He's missing some of the shots. Does get the kill on Shiba. But the bomb does
that round
go
was
off.
already over by the time that bomb had ticked down that much, but Shiba getting, AV getting the extra kill does grant an extra ult point, which is going to be very helpful in terms of getting that Soldier ult online, which on this map can be quite strong, especially with the way people like to play. And so, yeah, looking at the economy if we can, it looks like... Yeah, so pretty standard buy. You've got the Vandal onto Blurb, which is a bit interesting giving that to your Omen, but I guess you don't want it going in first with your entry fragger. So Bad Internet will just be on that Sheriff and then 3 Spectres to follow it up versus a full save from the side of Good Gaming.
It's interesting to see how this game is going out as the start, especially from what we've seen in the previous 2 games. We've seen, like, previously, we've seen... We've seen GoDo Gaming like really taking over in like the first round of like the previous game. So it's interesting to see that they not doing that as well this round. It's
Something
definitely
they are
going
doing well
a
is
different
they've
way.
managed to pick off 4 players, so that way it's just bad internet now. Left in the 1v2. He's gonna try and make something happen here against Godia. It doesn't look like he can.
Unfortunately,
And
does get
Godia
picked
will
off
pick up
by
that round.
Lay1.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, exactly what happened to Godia last time. They've done this game. So now they've won that second round, which means not only do they not have to buy the weapons that Group Hug would have bought because they've picked them up now, but they also have that money that they saved going over into the next round. So
My bad stream. Hold up. My game is in Italian. I apologize.
Yeah, I was saying that. I think the stream is fine, but our game is definitely.
Oh,
in
okay,
Italian.
yeah.
Broadcasting from right
Our
now.
game is in
Okay,
Italian.
okay.
Yeah,
That's fine. We understand the basics of it, all right? We don't need to.
Yeah, we all speak Italian here. It's fine.
Yeah, we all speak Italian.
But yeah, so-
You guys don't know Italian?
But Lay1 actually picking up an early kill on Lychee as well. Looks like any kind of strat they did have is just immediately crumbled as you've got 2 players now trapped in tiles as the flanks come through. Can he pick up the kill? It does look like he can. Chugganut's picking up both of them as well.
Chugganut's
That's
really going
big
in, getting
those
2
kills.
elims is huge for them. It does, however, just leave very isolated. Oh, we seen Sen really go in and like actually get an elim there, which is huge for them, especially considering it was a 5v1. Any elim that you can get in a 5v1 is worth 100%.
Unfortunately, from the way that
get overwhelmed.
Yeah, and from the way that these early rounds have gone, it doesn't really matter even if they get that 1 kill, because it basically just frees you up to switch from a SMG to a rifle. So looking at this, yeah, now full rifles on both sides, and you see between 2 and 5k on most of the players, whereas Group Hug is forced down to basically the last dregs of their money. They have about $1,000 to their entire team's name total. So even if Godia lose this round, they still have a full buy for the next round and potentially the round after that as well.
How do you think Group Hug should go about playing this, especially given the fact that you know, we've seen that that Godia Gaming has like excellent team play and like really good communication. How do you think they should go about playing this, you reckon?
I think it's a similar strategy that they would have, Justine would have need to employ, where you need to try and contain those pushes. If you can hold them back, get a pick or 2, and slow down that death ball, that's exactly what you need to do. So you see that they managed to actually get the early pick off,
and
and
Avy really getting in a limb there. Rexy and Blurb do get a limb back though. Blurb getting
Blurb
2
actually with
kills.
a beautiful kill. The aim was rough at the start, but from both players, and he's able to flick around and get another kill. It's just 1 player left. That'll be Lychee trying to win this one out. And with the Omen teleport now, they get a free B site. So it'd be
to bring that from a rough situation all the way back into a good position here right now. As long as they play this really well and they make sure that they don't, you know, feed into this. And because we've seen Lychee is not something to be taken lightly. So as long as they play really well and they don't let themselves get picked off by Lychee, they could win this.
Yeah, and
Quite
actually,
easily.
unfortunately, they didn't know where the jet was, so they had to take a lot more time to plant that. So instead of getting the spike down while he's on the other side of the map and getting that timer ticking, now
They
he's
had to-
already here.
Yeah, now he's right here and waiting. Going right in. Unfortunately, doesn't get the elim there. It was very close though. Very good attempts.
Yeah, the placements of the smokes from Lychee were actually really good. He smoked the first player off to try and isolate the player towards main, and then dash out to a smoke, use that one. Unfortunately, couldn't line up the shots, and then didn't even have close to enough time to flick around and kill Blurb as well behind him.
And I doubt that they had knowledge on Blood being there either.
Yeah, that is a very aggressive position to play. That was a very aggressive post plan in general, which is kind of the smart way to play this.
But now both teams are tied up, and that leaves us in a very good position. This has actually been... They've actually played this really, really well, especially considering how the previous game went as well. Like how the previous 2 games have gone for both teams. It's very interesting to see how tight this game is.
Yeah, and so far, teams basically trading back 1 for 1. And, I mean, that Phoenix ult didn't get much value, but at least it bought a bit of space. But it seems like Godia's been able to contain
And at least
them
it gave a bit of recon, at least in a certain way of like knowing where they are. Even if it didn't get a massive amount of value, at least knowing where one person is on the other team and still being a 5v5 does leave them in a good position.
Although, with that,
Sen
they actually
does get a limb there.
well.
Rexy does
Rexy, though, with the double
Rexy
kill,
gets
doing
two
Rexy
two
things.
limbs.
And now it looks like with the push down mid, Lay1 actually able to pick up
Lay1
one.
getting
I
in a
was not
limb.
expecting
Burb
to
also
win that.
getting in a limb on Lay1. We've seen Burb playing really, really well here. Burb playing this nice and slow.
Yeah, this round is fully slowed down, and now it just looks like that looking to get some picks, but Rexy with his third in the round means it's just Blurb on his own, 1v3, and it's going to be tricky for him to get out of this one. He teleports backwards. Can he make it out? The smoke placement's actually really good. He gets the first pick. Can Shiba clean this up? He's had this duel before mid with Blurb, and it didn't go too well for either player, but there's also the swing from Rexy to be worried about. The second he tries to push up, he's going to be in a rough spot, and with 15 seconds, he really has to make something happen here. Gets on top of the box. That would have been a really good play if Shiba wasn't watching that angle. He had... Rexy had no idea he was behind. He could have jumped down behind and gone for the plant, or potentially even gotten a kill. But unfortunately, Shiba watching that angle cleans
It was
up.
definitely a very good attempt by Blurb there to try and go for that. It was a high risk but high reward situation. Unfortunately, didn't go well for him though. I don't think there was much else he probably could have done there. I think the only thing he could have done was to try and be aggressive. Just because he needed to bring it down as much as possible. It's very difficult to win a 3v1, so just making it into a 2v1 is the best thing he possibly could have done there.
Yeah, and I mean, he could have potentially done something where he backed out and went for a plan on the spike, but either way, you're still in a rough spot, and Blurb picking up the first gun to Fat Chuck Nuts has meant this is a bit of a better start for them.
With there being like Rexy as well as like, you know, there being two people there, it would have been difficult even if he did go for the spike, just given the fact that like the double push would have made it very rough for him.
Shiba can pick up a kill with the shock darts. I don't know what quite happened there. I think he was just sitting in logs, and Shiba just happened to pre-fire the shock bolt into that corner. But now you see an almost full post plant on site, but Noob actually behind does manage to pick up Lay1 as he's trying to rotate to the side. And AV, beautiful one tap with the Sheriff, takes down Lychee, and now 4v2 all of a sudden. Can they make anything happen? Neuro Theft comes out. It's going to be pinging those players. They have to save. They're going to back up, save those rifles, and just try and play for the next round because their economy is starting to look a bit rough.
We saw a very good play by AV there. We've seen AV play like really well this round. I'm not sure. I can't remember quite sure how AV played in the first game, but we've definitely seen AV play extremely well this round.
From memory, I think, yeah, AV was more of their consistent fragger where they got a lot of kills and I think ended up topping the scoreboard, but wasn't necessarily the most flashy player. That was definitely a bit of a flashy player though. And yeah, you see, unable to recover all of the rifles, unfortunately. Actually, AV still sitting on that Sheriff means he's going to have to buy up this round. And yeah, this economy is looking interesting because on the one side, I think that Godia can get a full buy here with $6,700 on Lay1. But also, I mean, the economy is not too great for either team. You see about like an average of about 3K on the side of Group Hug. And then on the other side, looking pretty rough. This is basically do or die for Godia. If they win this round, they'll have money. If they don't, it's gonna be in a bit of a bad spot. Although it looks like they're just actually playing for hero raffles. Two of their players didn't actually buy anything and just have their regular classic, even though they were 6,700 on Lay1. Which definitely interesting. We'll see how it pays off for them.
It's possible perhaps that they're trying to just save up just to make sure that they at least have something for the next round should they lose this. So I don't think it's like completely unjustified for them to do that, but yeah, it's certainly in a rough spot here, and they definitely need to make something out of this.
Yeah, and you see Lay1 actually playing close here. It's going to be interesting. They got the tripwire down, which makes it rough for them to try and make any kind of pop play into A main. And now you see as Group Hug just kind of spread back out around the map, they're going to look for holes in the defense. And the hard thing is Godia really doesn't usually leave many gaps open, especially with this Killjoy utility on B. Even if the Sova manages to push out and take some space, it's going to be spotted, and then immediately Lychee can just pivot back. But speaking of
Excellent
gaps, Rexy...
shot by NRG. Excellent shot there.
Yeah, bad internet, just able to pick up that one, and Noob as well, picking up another
also
kill
getting
Lychee.
a pick on Lychee.
30 seconds left.
Unfortunately,
Juggernaut's back
going
on
absolutely crazy, getting 2 on Burb and Cake. Insane gameplay right here.
Yeah, and the problem is there's this backstab coming out from the Phoenix on the side of Group Hug. It means that Lay1 has to play further back and has to kind of watch for him. And we'll see he's able to, not quite pick up the kill. Does it?
Oh, Lay1 does get the kill on bad internet.
With 1 player left and 10 seconds on the clock, that he might be able to get this back plant down actually. And the Sova comes out. That's why they're playing off site, is because, yep, that's his kill. And yeah, and that's the round for Godia. It was very chaotic, very rough, but ends up working out that saving that money on Shiba was pretty worth it.
Yeah, that was a really good play by Goda. By Goda Gaming. Actually, like, really well played there. They really needed that win as well, just because they were really just like, they would have struggled without the money for like guns and stuff. They really needed to like make sure that they won that round, just so they can keep up and they don't get left behind. But yeah, they managed to do that, and it should give them at least a bit of a leg up in this next one, so that it can at least be on a more stable footing. They don't need to worry too much about. They don't need to worry too much about whether or not they're going to have enough.
Yeah, and the rough thing is as well, Cake 0 and 6 right now is having a bit of a struggle on this Clove, and Clove's someone you really want. If you're gonna pick up the Clove, since she can still place her smokes after death, she's a very aggressive, or they're a very aggressive agent to be playing, and you kind of
getting in a limb on Lychee there.
Yeah, that was actually looked like a pickup right before the smoke went down, which is just maybe slightly too slow on the timing there from Leywon. Uses his second smoke to refresh this, but it looks like Group Hug might just be wanting to wait this one out and then push in afterwards and try and make something happen here. But
I think it's quite the smart that they're trying to play this slow and not trying to just like straight up push into that, especially considering they don't know how many people are on the other side of that smoke.
Yeah.
NRG going in for a flank does get a kill.
Yeah, bad internet, able to pick that one up, and now it looks like he's going to use that Phoenix Wall actually through the wall to kind of secure that gen push, but they don't know this plays in the corner. He's going to be able to pick up the first one. Rexy
does go down. Rexy does get the limb and does go down to Zen.
And that'll be
gets in a
Cake picking up their first kill of the game, I think.
Spike planted.
And yeah, now just Chugga left in a 1v4. Can he make anything happen here? Probably not, but he does have the rifle in hand.
There is
so
someone watching his corridor. He does get killed by Blurb though when he goes around that corner. That is very unfortunate for him there.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if there was much
that the gun covered his player model. That was pretty rough.
I'm not sure if there's much that that Chugga could have done there. Really, like, do you think that maybe he could have played that more passive, trying to keep the weapon, or do you think that that was probably the only thing?
Yeah. I mean,
really
if you look at the money right now, they do have a full buy, and Lychee has knives, which means he will be able to use that instead of a gun, and it's as good, if not better, than
however,
rifle.
is struggling with credits here, though. This is this is a big buy for them. They do not have much after this. The same with Lychee. Lychee is running really low on credits.
Yeah, if they lose this round, they are going to be on an eco. Good thing is they've already got it to 4-4, so if they do lose a couple of these rounds, they can at least make a competitive half of it. But yeah, it's a bit unfortunate to say the econ, and even more unfortunate that Lay 1 gets picked off. The Phoenix ult comes out, and that's actually not going to spot out the player in the corner. He's still sitting there. And with this flash coming out from Rexy,
Rexy does get in a limb on ARG and Cake. Cake gets rezzed as well, though, using their ult.
The Clove ult does come out, and will that be another pickup? It will. Rexy is unstoppable in this corner. Killjoy ult coming out for the defenders means they will be forced back if they can't destroy this.
Bad internet getting a limb. Burb also getting a limb on Chuggernauts. This leaves
actually just fighting back into
to be the last one. Unfortunately, does go down to AV. That leaves them in a Godia Gaming in a very bad position right now.
Yeah, and they didn't get too many kills on anyone other than Rexy, which means that they didn't even get the kills from the money. Obviously, they can't get the bomb plant money given they're on defense. So, yeah, the econ here is going to look pretty rough.
It also just means that Group Hug has like almost all their weapons still active, so they don't really need to buy out too much. This timeout is definitely needed for them. What do you reckon that they could do from here to try and push to do that a little bit better throughout this?
It's tricky because I mean, like that round, Rexy played amazingly. He did pretty much everything right, and they still lost. I think it's just a matter of tightening up that coordination a bit. You saw the rest of the players were just streaming in to help them wherever they could, but they were very uncoordinated, just getting picked off one at a time. Like a player would swing and die, while Rexy's just fighting for his life on that site. So I think just trying to kind of tighten up that coordination, back up a bit if you need to get in as a full 5, because that's been Godia's strength, is playing as a full 5-man squad and just deathballing in and having that good coordination. You can't have good coordination if your players aren't on the same site. So just buying that time and kind of waiting and grouping together.
The gameplay that we've seen from Godia Gaming, you know, there's a stark difference from the way that they were playing previously in the last game compared to them playing in this one. It seems like they've definitely haven't got as well communication in this game as we saw in the previous game, but we're seeing excellent communication coming from Group Hug. So
yeah, and looks like a mid to A push potentially here. They've gotten smoked off, so they might have to adapt their plan. But you see, yeah, immediately the B player is also working up. This could potentially be a split, but right now it's looking a little more like a default. Just find some information. But Blurb unfortunately takes out Shiba, playing in that rat corner. luckily for Blurb, he cleared that one and was able to pick up that kill. But now we see the heavy B push, and now it's all down to the Killjoy. Chugga has to make something happen here if he wants to try and stall them out, but actually he backs off and tries to play with Lei1, which I think is the right play here. Give them the site, play together. If you can take out this player in mid, potentially have the round.
Get a kill on Chugga. Lei1 does get a kill on Blurb. It is a singular limb, but that does leave them in a 2v4. It will be rough for them to try and do anything here.
Yeah, luckily, now Lei1 has recovered the rifle, which means he will have a bit more of a chance in this round. Unfortunately, I don't think it'll be enough. They've kind of spread out everywhere. You see one player deep in B main, one player deep in top mid. And yeah, as Lychee goes to spray, you just see Cake swing out and pick up, I believe, his third kill of the game. He's coming back into this one after starting out, I believe, 0-6 after the first 6 rounds. Definitely coming alive a bit more.
What do you think was like probably the best thing that they could have gotten out of that round once they got into that 2v4 situation? What do you think is the best decision they could have made there?
Given the money, they just had to try and save. When they were grouped together, so they had the 2-player mid, and then once they killed him and got that rifle, they were close enough together with no enemies that I think they should have just grouped up and played their lives, because now you see that Rexy's on that Bulldog, as well as I believe that's Chugga back down to $0. So I think saving there would have been the play, given that it would have been a really rough situation to win. But you always have to respect the play. And speaking of
Lei1 getting a double kill
on
bad internet and AV. Cake getting a limb on Lei1. That was a 2-for-1 special. Very good play there. Definitely worth the dead there. Blurb getting a kill on Lychee. That brings 2 down to 2 down on both teams.
Yeah, 3v3 now, and Omen is looking quite low on the side.
Playing the low ground here, really just like looking up at the high ground.
And yeah, he's basically just waiting to see if any player is going to try and push through into tree to clear them out. And now he's got a really good backstab. I don't think they expect this to be this close, but Rexy is looking back over this way. Oh, he doesn't see the close player though, and he baits
does
himself
get
out.
the limb on Rexy. Excellent limb there. Bringing them up 1 extra player. It does put them in the advantage here. Just planting the spike. Now we're seeing Sheba just like slowly crawling up, trying to make sure that they're not about to get shot the moment that they walk through that smoke.
I think they're very cautious about a flank here, because the way they've been playing the
this corner.
Yeah,
Sen also holding an alternate corner.
Yeah, with 2 players in tree, this is going to be a very hard spot to push. I'm assuming they planned it out in the open, which means, yeah, they did. So not only do they have to try and clear out the site with time to defuse the bomb, but also they have angles from everywhere. And you see Omen holding that flash. He's just going to flash the second they tap the spike, and then just kill them both. And the flank does it. It doesn't matter anyway, because Cake's going to pick up potentially his 4th kill of the round. And he does. That's a beautiful round for Cake.
Excellent plays by Cake throughout that round.
Yeah. Just more than doubled his kills, by the way. That was an excellent round. The beautiful backstab. And that's, I think, something Group Hug's been really good at. Is being able to spread out, especially on those post plants, and catch Godia Gaming off, like unaware. So I think
really just like coming in this game and really just showing what they're made of. Any doubt that was laid upon them before this game started, they are putting to rest here and now, making a big statement here, stating that they will not be overlooked just because of how the first game went.
Yeah, and this will be the final round.
It really just goes to show how, how these rounds can like truly go extremely differently.
And Chugga actually in a very rough spot there. He got tagged by the camera, so they had wall hacks on him, and then they used the Sover rod, so he couldn't pull the dart out. That was a really good flash coming out of Lei1, but nothing capitalized off it, and Blurb picks up the first kill. Chugga does trade it back from that backside position, but he's about to get flashed and swung. Chugga actually picks that kill up. I don't know how he's done that, but Cake picks up another kill. And now, looks like they're able to get the push plant down, but they have really
Sheba getting a kill on Cake. Cake using ult. AV downing 2, then getting down themselves. Cake downing Sheba.
Yeah, and
round for them yet again. Excellent plays. Absolutely phenomenal play by Group Hug here. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, I was worried about that round in terms of Group Hug, is that the way they've been winning this post plans is by spreading out all over the map. You've seen them barely play on side. They've had like maybe 1 player on side for most of these. And that time, they were forced into sticking together and forced it into being a group. But they were able to just swing out and get those kills and kind of secure that round up. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes you have a way of playing, but if you just hit everyone's head, it doesn't really matter. So they managed to basically clutch that round up.
You can see all the improvements that they've made from that very first game. They've definitely taken a lot of what they've got, of what's happened from the first game, and really just like taken it in to learn from the second one. we saw like from the very first game that they were really just like struggling to do anything at all when it came down to like trying to hit their shots, trying to make sure that they were, being the people who got like the first elims just to try and get up. They were really struggling with that originally. But throughout this entire game here, we've just really noticed that they've stepped that up. They've managed to like, cover their weaknesses, and they're really just like coordinating themselves really, really well here. And coordination just appears to be like the key difference, the key like defining difference that has made all of these games. Now we're seeing Lychee kind of go on a flank here.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to split up the pressure. He dashes into tree, which is actually very good for his team because it'll force them back. And
Lychee
picks up the kill
does
as
get
well.
a kill on NRG.
Yeah, and bad internet
It's
going
an
down means
excellent
that side is
kill.
fully open. Blurb
Blurb
does get
getting a
another
kill
one and a
on
second
Lewin
one.
and
though.
Rexy. Lychee does kill Blurb, unfortunately. Cake getting a kill on Shiba. Lychee getting a kill on Cake. Avi getting a kill on Chuggernuts. Lychee getting a kill on Avi. Sen getting a kill on Lychee. And that ends that round. Insane gameplay here. We've been seeing like phenomenal gameplay from both sides.
Yeah,
it is a stark difference between all of these games. I swear, every single game we've seen like a team step up and absolutely play completely unexpected.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair to Lychee there, he was 111 before that round. He managed to pick up 4. If he got that final kill, that would have been an ace and I believe a 2 or 3v1 clutch. But unfortunately, not able to pick that one up. And yeah, I mean, that was a chaotic round. A lot of pistol rounds are, but that one especially was just back and forth, trading all the way down until it was a 1v1. And Lychee did all that he could, but just not able to get that final kill to secure the round.
We're also seeing a lovely view of the sky there, lining up the knife.
Yeah, so that should land somewhere in heaven, I'm assuming. Directly on the middle of the site. That's actually really solid. Luckily, Lei1 was ready with, Blurb was ready with the smoke.
Getting a kill. Lei1 getting a kill on Blurb. They did lose Lychee, but without Blurb, this does bring it down back and even.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they don't have a lot of room to work with. The teleport pass, these are the tripwires I was talking about. You can't shoot these tripwires from main, and now they're going to get caught out by that player holding heaven.
Getting 2 limbs on both Shiba and Chuggernauts.
I don't think they know the Omen's pushed up, though. He might actually be able to get a lot of picks here, especially you see Rexy just shooting shots, trying to bait them into pushing him. Yeah,
Cake getting another kill on Rexy. Trying to bait in that third push, but Lei1 is taking it chill.
And they actually
Lei1 does get found out, and Sen gets the kill on Lei1.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate. Basically, Lei1 couldn't reload there because if he did, he'd give away his position, and he got a very lucky timing where they were going to use the Sova drone to clear him out, but Cake pushed at the same time. If he had the ammo there, that was a very free kill, but he just missed one too many shots, and Cake managed to live on 1, and given he only had a pistol, all he could do was swap to his knife, which it does not go well for you in those situations, is what I'll say. And
Cake as well,
Cake
really just like doing a
NRG.
stack on that game, getting like 3 kills at the very start there in that corridor was really like essential for them being up in that game, making it difficult for them to really like do much of anything actually.
Yeah, this will be a bit of a better round though from Godea Gaming, or at least it should be, given that they now have full rifles on board, but also it's a bit of a do or die round. If they lose this round, they're going to be back on pistols, and the group hug will be at 11 already, and they can't really afford to go down and let them get to 12 when they're only on 4 rounds, because that means 8 rounds in a row to win this back. So this is a very important round, as is the next one. If they can win these next 2, they have a chance. If not, I think it might be a bit rough. And that's a good start.
Going down to Lei1. Sen getting a kill on Chuggernauts, and Cake getting a kill on Rexy. Shiba getting a kill on Cake. Blurb getting a kill on Lei1. Shiba getting a kill on Sen Noob. It's really just going back and forth.
Yeah, and Shiba able to pick up another one. 1v1 now.
Chen. AV getting a kill on Shiba. Now this is going to be a super tense game. Neither one of them know where each other are. They're walking around, playing Ring Around the Rosie without any knowledge of each other's existence.
I don't think he knows that he was in boat shed there, but I don't think it matters because he just went back to site, which means now he's just watching the
AV appears to have the advantage here, can hear it, goes for the shot, kills Lychee, and gains the victory for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, since
this has just been phenomenal play. I'm not sure what's happened from the Godea Gaming we saw from the previous round, but they have just really struggled.
Yeah, and that will be an attacking timeout from Godea now. And I think, yeah, the tricky thing in that clutch, and the reason he was planning so exposed, is he pushed out to see if he could find the player. not seeing him there, he thought he had more time, but unfortunately, he was tucked around the corner just behind him. The one spot he didn't check.
They
That
really
meant that
like
when he
this.
went for the plant, it was instant. The guy was there straight away and able to clean that one up. And AV, yeah, picked up that 1v1 clutch in probably the easiest 1v1 clutch we've seen of today.
We've really just seen both teams kind of like, especially at the end there with those two. We really just saw them like moving around each other, just without any idea where either one of each other were. They were just like moving around the corners, just unable to see each other, despite the fact that they were both in the same area. But yeah, that was really unfortunate. I honestly, at this point, what do you reckon that that Godir needs to do just to really like try and bring this back? Just like try and do anything they can to try and
yeah, so that'll be what this
to try and like do anything.
Yeah, that's what this timeout call would have been about. Is what can we actually do here? What kind of strat can we pull? I'm not sure that they really have much they can do, because I believe that if we can look at the economy, I don't think it's that solid for them. Yeah, it's 3 rifles, a bulldog, and then a sheriff on Juggernauts, which is rough, especially given he is their highest ranked player. In theory, the best aim, and yeah, he's gonna really have to just. The idea is, I guess, to wait behind and try and pick up another rifle, or just go in with it with the sheriff and see what you can do. But I think can't see the mini map, but I believe they're going for a just very solid mid push right now. And yeah, it looks like 2 players up cat, 3 players down mid. And they're just going to try and push this one out. They're going to run to this 2 Cypher Trip Riser. And that's going to be quite rough for them now, because the push... Wait, they didn't see the drone coming out. They're going to be able to get this early stab off, but Blurb, unfortunately, not able to pick up that kill.
Egg getting a kill on Lychee. NRG getting a kill on Rexy.
1 enemy remaining.
AV getting a kill on Juggernauts. It is not looking good for them here.
It's very rough, especially with that flash. Oh, the knife kill was stolen. Bad internet steals that kill away.
So unfortunate.
Yeah, that was... Yeah. I'm pretty sure Blurb is playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, not Valorant there, but... I mean, that was a rough round. And now that it's 4-12 and they forced that last round...
really struggling here. It's just been round after round after round. They really haven't just been able to do too much here. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure what they're going to be able to do.
Yeah.
I think the only thing they can do at this point is just try and play it slow, try and play it safe, try and make sure that they can, I don't know, do something, get an opening pick without trying to go down first. Just anything possible just to make sure that they stay up.
Yeah. Looks like right now it's going to be a slow A push, and actually...
Lychee and Juggernauts.
Yeah, very strong pop play here could come out with all 5 players if they're not expecting this. However, there are 3 defenders already on A, so I'm not sure how well this play is going to go. But Shiba able to pick up the first one, actually. That's a big pickup, especially given that he had the lower weapon. But AV picking up 2 in return. That's going to be Juggernauts and Shiba going down. Rexy has to do it all.
On bad internet. We're seeing Lay One hold it here in the corner.
And Rexy's ages away, though. Rexy's all the way in spawn, and with Lychee going down, he's got to get there fast. Otherwise, he's not going to be in this play at all. Lay One has to hold this down, has to try and make something happen here. The smoke is going to come down. They can't
coming
see
round the corner. Rexy did get in a limb on AV.
And Lay One able to pick up the one in the smoke. Cake using his ult to come back. Can he make anything happen here? He's going to be able to get behind Lay One, takes that one down.
Does get in a limb. It is just Rexy left.
He gets hit by the...
Rexy does unfortunately go down. And they will get this. They will get this off. That is unfortunate.
Yeah,
that is an upset of the century for Godir Gaming. An absolute run through. 4-13. That has got to hurt.
Yeah, and I mean that's I mean we highlighted this at the start of this, right? I mean, just because Godir Gaming beat Just Aim and Just Aim beat Group Hug doesn't mean that Group Hug's gonna get rolled here, and they proved it. In fact, they did the rolling.
Is that it?
Blurb went
quick question.
insane
What
with a
happens now?
22-11
GG, well played. Good stuff.
I mean, it is
they
also
really,
important to note.
really just like took those previous losses and they really like learned from that and made sure that they did not repeat those mistakes in this one, and they really paid off for them massively in this.
Oh, for sure.
Whereas it just seemed like Godir Gaming just like really just struggled with that round. A massive stark difference from what we saw in the previous game, where they just were running it down, like really good communication. It just seemed like that game they just weren't able to utilize their communication, or just like weren't able to figure out exactly what they needed to do to push through and actually like try and claim some limbs early on.
I think it's also important to note. I mean, their top fragging player Blurb, who is I believe the highest ranked player on their team, wasn't playing in the first game. They had Laywon in from Satagodia instead. So I mean, the fact that they didn't have that player in the first game, you've got to wonder what the result would have been between Just Aim and Group Hug if they had Blurb in that first game. Because he went insane in that game. I believe 22 and 11, so a 2.0 KD. Very good, especially on the Omen. Omen does not have a lot of ways to set himself up for those kills. So his team did a good job setting him up, and he did a good job just kind of clutching up.
What do you reckon that Goda could have done, just like to try and do something to try and bring it back at any point throughout the entire game? What could they have done? What could they have changed to like try and push back against Group Hug?
I think it's tricky because they were just losing their gunfights a lot of this time. So aim better. No, but in seriousness, I think trying to recognizing that Blurb is playing really well and trying to move away from him and maybe go to the site that he's not. It's hard. I noticed they were rotating their players around a lot, so they couldn't really just say he's always on A, let's go B. But it was still very tricky for them because they just weren't really winning those early gunfights. And I think you can have all the team coordination in the world, but if all 5 players miss the one player they're swinging, then what are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't know. It was a struggle of a game. All teams played well, right? We saw a lot of different games from a lot of different teams. Every team got their chance to shine, and we saw a win. Every single team got a win today, which is insane. It was really good to see how every team played, how every team went up against each other, and it was just a fantastic event. I loved every single moment of this. Was absolute shocker that we were on our edge the entire time. We never knew what was going to happen next.
I mean, there were some insane plays there as well. That flick from, I believe it was Rexy, and then also just all of the clutches. There was a surprising amount of 1vx clutches. Sorry, can you repeat that, James? Didn't you? Yeah. Sorry. Yes. But yeah, so I think it was a really just solid interview. And a solid game, sorry. And I think we're getting potentially we might be getting Cake in here to talk about the game. But yeah, I think just in general, this has been a really fun event. Obviously, this is just the casual portion of it. We will be doing I believe it's on both days of the weekend for the next 2 weeks will be the more competitive bracket with the higher ranked players. That includes
the finals ending on the 26th on the Thursday in I believe it's 4 weeks time, correct?
I think it's a little less than that, but yeah, around 3 weeks from now. And so and that will actually be a LAN event. So if you do want to come along and watch in person, it'll be at QUT Gardens Point campus in the X Block. But yeah, and I believe we've got Cake now. Cake, how are you feeling after that game?
Stressed, on high alert.
Yeah.
How do you feel that game went? How do you what's your takeaway from that game?
I think it was hard for me personally because I didn't do very well at the beginning, as you guys probably know.
Join us.
I believe we are also trying to get Cake's camera
so,
on.
Going 0-4. Hello. Hi. Going 0 and 4, 5, 10. I don't even know the scoreline.
I think it was 0-7, 0-6 or 0-7.
0-7?
Yeah, and then you got 1 kill, and then I think you were sitting at 3 and 11, and then you got that I think it was a 4K, and you went up to man. I remember it was 7-11, and then I think literally the next round you got another 3 and went even or close to even. So yeah, I mean, did anything change, or was it just you weren't hitting your shots and then you were?
I think most of it goes to my teammates, really, because in the beginning it's getting to know people. Our team, we kind of just rocked up, and we were it's our first time playing together, right?
Yeah.
But getting to know their comms, they're very experienced, so I'm just happy that they're my teammates.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you played really well, especially towards the end there. So
throughout that game, what do you reckon was your greatest strengths and your greatest weaknesses throughout that game?
Ooh, weaknesses is not being able to aim. I feel like the pressure of even though it's Valorant, it feels like there's something at stake, and a little monkey in my brain's oh, you gotta miss your shots now.
a different feel, you could say, to the games.
Yeah. But I think playing an easier agent definitely helped, because I was playing nerfed Teo requires so much more thought of in the first game. rather than Clove, where you just click on a smoke and then you're just like, oh, it's down.
Yeah, I mean, what was your thought process picking the Teo in that first game? Because he did get massively nerfed. He hasn't really been run at all on the pro level, and his play rate in general has massively dropped. So, were you just having fun, or did you guys have a set idea for it?
Funny missile man shoots missiles.
Yep, fair enough. I mean, he does. Funny missile man shoot missiles. That's the best reason you could have given. So, but yeah. So, who do you reckon who was the MVP of your match? Do you reckon?
Definitely. Was Birdie? Wait,
Blurb, I think.
names. Blurb, yes.
Yeah.
I do give it to Blurb. He was talking so much in the back, like planning out everything.
Really?
So without him, we couldn't. Yeah. You
Yeah,
wouldn't
and on
believe
top
how
of him, he went
much.
22 and 11 as well as basically it sounds like IGLing. So
Yes.
yeah, well that is impressive. Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's a pretty good candidate, hands down. But yeah, I mean, and you also gave you a bit of a I joked around with you a bit about the 0-6, but you did play really well. Again. I think you went third on your team. I can't really remember the scorelines, but
Yeah.
I mean, you came back and you showed up, and I think that's the biggest thing in Valorant is the matches are long enough that you can either start really hot and then fall off, or you can start having a really rough time. You have enough time to hit some more shots, get some more confidence, and then keep going from there.
But knowing what you know now after all these games happen, what would you, if you had to go back, right, and you had to play these all again, is there anything like you would change as part of like how you would approach things and like, how would you, knowing how your team plays now, is there anything like you would change in terms of composition or anything like that?
In terms of composition,
Yeah,
I
like
think
the
it's
way you
more
would
of-
play, how you would play it with them, all sorts of things.
I think it's more like in terms of mentality, right? It's just like making sure you keep calm, making sure it's like even though you're down 3-9, 9-3, it's like it's not the end of the game. Often like all the communication stops and then it's like, okay, well, let's do next. But really it's just getting your mind focus and go
Do
for
you
that.
think that was there like a shift at all from like the first game to the second? Do you think like was there like what was a big change between those two games? Do you feel?
I think having time to cool down does help a lot. But also just having a new face because we did have subs coming in and out, and then we have a new person. And it's like, okay, it's a new team, fresh start. That honestly helps a lot. I have to throw some flack to you guys. I heard during the game that you guys were calling out some flack on me.
I mean, hey, all I'm saying is,
listen.
no. This isn't recorded, right?
That's crazy. What? Wait, was that it? The producer? Cake finally gets first kill? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, hey, someone might have said that. It might not have been me.
Listen,
It might have. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
To
I've
anyone out there.
got to save Ozzy here. I was the one shit talking you. No, but I mean, to be fair, like I think it was really good that we highlighted that because it would have been that insane seeing your 4K if we didn't know you were on 3 kills before that. So
That's true.
Exactly. All right.
I was on
There is
3?
There is no rise without the fall.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, the
I think you meant to
storyline.
fall after you rise. I don't know.
No, you fall first and then you rise back up.
Okay,
All right.
Of course.
The redemption arc. Everyone
Yeah.
likes a redemption arc.
Of course, yeah. And I mean, and your entire team did a redemption arc because we were going into this game worried it might be a bit of a roll in Godia's end, and you guys slaughtered them. So good job.
Yeah.
But I
You
think
truly you truly proved the doubt is wrong for sure.
But huge shout out to like Leon's team. Like they were really in sync, and it's like I think in any other day they would have won.
Yeah, but you guys are just better today, so
In this specific situation, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not any other day, so you win.
Yeah, and yeah, that means all teams went 1-1. So I guess you all you can split the first prize pool of $0. So congrats.
Let's go.
Yeah.
We're huge.
But I think that'll be it for us today, tonight. Of course, like we said, come back next weekend. I would think on Saturday and Sunday we'll be doing the group stage for the second half of this tournament. And then on the next weekend after is the semis, and then the finals will be in person. QT, Guns Point, X Block, if you want to come along. And once again, thank you so much to Little for letting us host this event and for sponsoring us. If you personal injury lawyers, if anything ever happens to you, that's a really rough time. So like, please just keep them on your radar. And yeah, and thank you for sponsoring us. And I think that's all from us, unless
course, like Little's Lawyers is home to like a team of expert compensation lawyers with no win, no fee client agreement. This means that you don't need to pay anything unless and until we have a successful outcome in your case, right? As a diverse, multilingual team, our mission is to be lawyers for everyone, providing accessible services for clients of all over Australia, right? Today, Littles is one of the country's leading compensation lawyers, specializing in all kinds of compensation claims, including motor vehicle accident claims, workplace accident claims, public liability claims, total and permanent disability claims, and institutional and historical abuse claims. Littles continuously invests in its people and its technology to achieve the best possible results for their clients every single time. Don't worry, mate. They've got you.
Where did you get that script
So
from?
make sure that you go check out Littles, all right? If you ever have any problems that align with what Littles are looking for, you should 100% go and take a look at Littles, all right? They've got stack tons of 5-star claims with a bunch of 5-star reviews. All right, they're
Looking them
one
up
of
on
the
Google
best
right now?
lawyers that you could possibly put your faith in. All right, so make sure to go check out Littles. All right, they've got your back, and they're always looking to they have over 465 5-star reviews. In fact, actually, to put a specific number for it, they've always got your back.
crazy.
Make sure that you go check out Littles. All right, they're open Monday to Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5
I think that's
p.m.
enough, man. I
They
think
are
that's
closed
enough.
on Sunday, but every other day you're all good from 8:30 to 5
with the
p.m.
longest
all right?
ad read of all time coming to a close. I think we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully you all come back, and yeah.
Thank you for watching. Goodbye, stream.
And
Bye.